What up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. If you're new, don't be. Go ahead and click that subscribe button to be a part of the Witness gang, to join the Witness Nation. Let's get into this, shall we? Hello, you guys, and welcome to the channel. If you're new, don't be.
I'm Whitney.
Keep it cute and get the boot. All right, you guys, this platform discusses any and all information that has been made known to the public in any way. I'm not a journalist. I'm a commentator. Now, the views and opinions expressed in this video and on Whitney D's YouTube channel do not necessarily reflect the opinion of Whitney D and Whitney D's YouTube channel. Now, all topics are for entertainment purposes only, comedy, satire, TV rated mature, viewers' discretion is advised. Now, again, all commentary is alleged. But and what I always say, very, very real indeed. Hey, you guys, welcome to TheWhitneyDTV, and you guys are locked and loaded and tuned into another exclusive interview that I am going to be hosting with Michelle Loud. Now, many of you guys may or may not be aware of her story. You're going to be made fully aware on tonight, and I stand with her, okay? So not for nothing, let's go ahead and get started, okay? So let me go ahead and get the house rules out of the way. Those that are new tuning in, all right, welcome. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from. Place your city and or state in the chat so I can shout you out, okay? Make sure you keep it cute, okay? Or you will get the boot, and I mean every bit of the boot, okay? This is her story, and it don't matter if you believe it or not. Not over here, it don't. Now, she keep it cute on her Facebook. I don't care if you believe it or don't. I do, and this is my platform, so you're going to respect it or click the X and turn your behind, all right? Or you can just keep it cute and you can stay and join and watch and you know, and just comment freely, all right? You choose wisely, okay? Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Like this video and please share this video, okay? We're trying to get her message out there, her story out there, so share this video, all right? Now, if you like to join the channel, you can do so by clicking the X in the chat and click join that's located at the bottom of the screen, or upon the end of this video, I go back and I put all that information in the description box, okay? Not for nothing, if you like to support your girl, you can do so by sending me a cash out. If you don't have Cashapp, if you look at the bottom of the screen, you can see all of those ducats down at the bottom, but that's not what it's about tonight, okay? Just you guys and your support in lieu of Michelle is good enough, okay? All right, so fair use, okay? I'm just putting this out here, okay? Not for nothing, you guys. I see you guys are coming in. Pamela says it's sad. It is sad indeed. Ohio, what's up? Cassandra says Lafayette, Louisiana. Hello. Shamika says hi. Conrad, North Carolina in the building. Hello. Queen Daughter says hello from Birmingham, Alabama. Hello. All right. Okay. Let's go ahead and get into it. Like I said, many of you guys may already know her story. It was plastered all over social media for a while. She's been doing her due diligence and her best to try to get her story out, and it's been falling on deaf ears. And that's one of the reasons why I decided that I was going to be an advocate, that I was going to step up and I was going to help this sister. I am located in the city of Dallas with her, and I know this church, and I believe her, you know, all too well. I'm just getting everything locked and loaded real quick. Cherie says, hey, from Miami. Shay, hello again. Pamela says, I'm glad her story being told. It absolutely is, and it's going to be more than told. So you guys that are tuning in, before I introduce you guys to Michelle, check this out. A story that will grip your very soul. To Michelle Loud. Hey, beautiful. Welcome. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
You good? Okay, that's good. All right. So, gosh, we finally got everything worked out and everything together. Goodness. Anywho, so it's been a long uphill battle, it seems like, for you.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right. So, I just wanted to first and foremost just tell you how much I'm grateful. I'm appreciative that you are entrusting me with your story. I heard you had like a rough, couple of weeks with trying to get your story out with some people. So, we're going to talk about all of that, but I'm honored and I really appreciate that.
I appreciate you. I appreciate a safe space to
Yep.
be able to tell my story and share my story in
Mhm.
hopes that it will not only help me heal each time I'm able to speak it, but also help somebody else that may be in my shoes or that's gone through what I am experiencing right now. Maybe not on the same level, but definitely um, help somebody along the way.
Absolutely. So, and I know you've been, according to all my research and everything that I've composed, you originally put your story out there by your own words back in May of last year. Am I correct?
I originally that's when I put a name on it.
Exactly. Okay.
That's when I
So,
put a name on it.
okay.
But
So
I
let's
originally
let's give
started
people.
speaking out in 2016.
Okay, so yeah, so okay, so in 2016, okay, and so you put a name on it here last year back in May, and then you went on to Tasha K's platform, and you just went full throttle.
Yeah, I went
Um,
to Larry Reed first.
wow.
I
Okay,
went
so
to
you went
Larry
to
Reed
okay,
first, and then I went to Tasha K.
okay,
I did an interview with her, but also I have to say thank you to Nosy Bystanders as well,
okay.
because she definitely like it. Just when she covered it, it just I never expected um because people haven't been listening for so long, right?
Hmm.
And people haven't been believing me for so long. So when I did the live, I didn't expect, I didn't have no expectations. I was just fed up, and so I was just really in awe of God and how He showed me that my laboring and my prayers wasn't in vain
In
from
vain.
that live.
So for those that aren't subscribed to these platforms and individual, because I'll be quite frank and honest with you, when I talk to a lot of people that I'm connected with, they were like, "What?" They had no idea. So I know for a lot of people that have heard your story are probably like, "Why is she going everywhere?" Because you never know who haven't heard the story.
Yeah.
So I know you've been talking about it over and over and over and over in years, but can we kind of like can we retell the story? I mean, you can put it in a short term because I'm gonna be quite frank with you guys. It's out there. If you do your research and your search, you can see. It's still on her Facebook, the original post and everything. The interviews with the individuals as she stated are still out there. But for my viewers and my subscribers, do you mind retelling your story?
No, because what I do understand is that each place, uh, each new platform is different. It's gonna be somebody that hasn't heard the story before, and I've made a commitment that I'm gonna keep telling it over and over and over and over and over and over again until I have my child. So
As you
some
should.
people may get tired of me telling it. Well, help me get my baby because that's that I'm gonna keep. I've got nothing. I don't know. I'm gonna keep talking.
Right,
And
as
I
you
feel like
should.
that's what's keeping me here, keeping me sane, keeping me alive is that I'm talking. So
Yeah, because these are some strong allegations. So take us back. So what was the dynamics in relationship with you and the Jakes? And for those that don't know, we're talking about the Bishop T.D. Jakes and their family. And the reason why it's important to put the whole family into this is because it's kind of like that pedophile in your family, right? And he messes with the family members, but you kind of like just clutch your child away from them, but you continue to allow them to do the pedophilia and the disgusting, disturbing acts that they do to the other family members. Is something like that. So it's not just CORA, it's all of the components that are involved. And
yeah.
so how were you in connections with the family and CORA per se?
Well, I met Cora when I was like 10 or 12 years old. We met originally in New Members Orientation at their church. My mom had a friend that joined the church, but we were visiting the church because our original church home was in another city in Texas, about 30 miles from the Potter's house. And well, I didn't say Fort Worth because it's in my documentary series. We used to go to this church, the Church of Philadelphia in Fort Worth, Texas, and we would visit the Potter's house because my mom's best friend at the time um, had joined the church, and I got when we went to new members orientation when she joined. That's when I met Corey for the first time when I was 10. And because we would visit frequently, I'm a dancer. I'm a trained dancer in like, jazz, ballet, and all of that, contemporary lyrical and things like that. So they had this program that they was doing. I want to say it was for Easter. I'm not really sure, but it was a program that they were doing and they needed dancers. And it was this lady named Miss Jasmine who was over the dance part of the program, not necessarily the dance ministry, I believe. And my mom got me onto the team to be able to do the dance program. And then I believe the Sunday after that is when we joined the church, or maybe a couple months after that, joined the church. And I was 12 at this time. At this time, I was 12. And so that's how I met her. And I met her again in New Members Orientation. And we started a friendship and we was friends ever since then. So I know her because I've been knowing her since I was literally a child.
A
We
child.
was friends for, well, I was her friend. I know that now as an adult that she
Wasn't your friend.
she wasn't my friend.
Mm.
I know that at some moments in the friendship there was genuineness. Because I believe if you're gonna tell the truth, you have to tell the whole truth, the good,
Right.
the bad, the ugly, the right, the indifferent. So um, at some moments it was a really genuine friendship. And I don't really know what happened with her or why she changed over the years, but that's how I know Cora.
Absolutely. So, as time went on in regards to your relationship with her and seeing her being a part of the church, and I remember hearing you state this on several different occasions. The math wasn't mathing. She was such a prominent figure in such a pivotal staple in the. I mean, if you don't know about the Potter's house, baby, you don't know about the Potter's house. So everybody knows about this family. Everybody knows about this church, especially when you're in the metroplex of Dallas. Like, I mean, I went to the little chastity ceremony that they had. At the,
See now, I know you know.
I was
Oh,
trying to tell you,
girl,
baby. I know
I
my
did
mama
the
watching
chastity
now.
program too.
I probably was there
That's
to
when
go.
Pastor Chris Hill was over the youth ministry.
That's why I was like, ma'am, I need to talk to
Yeah. Oh
you.
wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was in that ceremony. I'm over here like,
Yeah, I did the chastity program with the promise ring, and we had these little
and your mom or your
little
parent, you turn
certificates
to
that
them
we
and
had
you
to
say the vow.
sign saying that we'll be chaste and abstinent until
Yes,
marriage. Yeah.
yes, and you turn to your parent and y'all go through the ceremony and he,
Yeah, yeah, me and my sister did. You had to wear the white dresses.
yes, yeah, we
Yeah.
had, I
It
went
was
through
a
all
whole
this.
like wedding ceremony.
It
I
was,
was like,
it was. So
yeah.
that's why I'm like,
Oh,
ma'am,
girl, you know then.
I,
Okay, then. How you
okay,
doing?
yeah, yes, ma'am. Oh, yes, yes, ma'am. I was there, and I was there when it was. I don't know if you remember. It's like the small church. It was like
Yeah,
it
you
was
had
before.
the youth firehouse.
Yes, and
And
they
well,
would
before
have
it was
these.
firehouse, it was fat house. And that's when
Yes,
they were in the tents and in the what is the things called, the trailers
yeah,
outside.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Like
then
the
once they build the big house, they called it the big house. You know, we kept the old sanctuary, and the old
Yeah,
sanctuary was the firehouse.
it was. I was there back then. They were having like teen summits and stuff, and they have
Girl,
speakers.
yes. Oh my God.
Yeah, this one and the one dude checked me.
Oh, I
Oh yeah,
forgot about the teen summits. Yes, that's when
that's why
Kaylee
I'm like,
Rowland used to come to the church when she was dating that football player.
yeah, yes, yeah. I was
Mhm.
there doing all that, baby. You trying to walk up to the front? They,
Yeah.
you better not. So
Yeah.
okay, so
Wow.
I wanted to put that in the back because you talking to a real one for real. So
Okay. Okay.
so yeah, so I know that had to, well, maybe it didn't. Maybe because when you young, you don't really pay much attention to, dang, they supposed to be a child of God. They supposed to be,
Yeah.
why they acting like that. Did
Mhm.
it ever click or register to you like, well, hold up? Or not really?
Not that young. Um not growing up in the church. Because I was such a sheltered child. Like even though I would be with Cora and they would do the things that they did, I didn't still have a full understanding of it because in the home with my mom, we didn't talk about it. I wasn't even fully aware of my body. Like, even after I had my oldest daughter, I didn't even really realize how beautifully made up of
Right.
a woman. And so I didn't even fully know those things. So I was I was free with Cora when I was with Cora and hanging out with Cora and Sarah, but I was also still very naive and green.
Right. As you
So
should, because you're a child.
yeah, I didn't realize, I just knew you ain't supposed to be lying on people you say your friend that's your friend. You
When
know.
you say lying, what happened? What do you mean? Like, what did you
Well,
experience?
after, like, we grew up in church, like, um we grew up together in church, right?
Hmm.
And we hung out outside of church, and hanging outside of church, Cora, Cora, they was PK kids.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people know what that means, but
Yeah.
they were PK kids. I consider myself a PK kid too, but I was not a PK kid like that. And so, they would be sneaky. They would be sneaky, and they really got to do what they wanted to do. So, um, when they couldn't do what they wanted to do, they would be sneaky, and especially Cora. And when she would get caught, she would lie on me.
Mm.
She would lie on me. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, no, that's not what you do when you friends. But yeah, when you young, you kind of let that stuff go over. So, okay, so let's go ahead and get into how all of this came about her getting your child. So, how many children did you have before having your son?
Before Jason, I had three
Yeah,
kids.
for Jason. You
Yeah,
had two?
I had three.
Oh, so you had three, so he's the fourth.
He's the fourth born.
Okay. So, okay. So, okay, because you made it very clear she can't have kids. Was there any indication? Did y'all ever have a conversation to
I
where
did
you?
not know Cora couldn't have kids.
Oh, okay.
I did not know Cora couldn't have kids. I did not know she was suffering from PCOS, and that's the reason why she couldn't have kids. But that's really not the reason why she couldn't have kids, because when we was at trial, when I asked her on stand, are you infertile? She said no, and I looked at him like, huh? And then I said, so you're not infertile due to PCOS? And she said no. On stand, come to find out, she's infertile because her insides are messed up because she had an abortion. But anywho,
Is that allegedly?
it's neither here nor there. Um, yeah, I didn't know that she couldn't have children because I ended the friendship probably in like 08, 09 maybe. And I ended it was kind of like the last straw when we came back from taking a ride to Kentucky. because she had met a guy online through Facebook, and he was a quote unquote pastor. But he really didn't have a church. It was like that's just a whole nother deal.
Okay.
I was ride or die. My friend Ashley, who was a mutual friend, was also ride or die. So we didn't let her ride on her own, but we didn't know that she didn't have permission to go. And she used her nanny job, because Cora's a nanny. She used the nanny, so she told her mom, that she had a nanny job where she had to be over there for the whole weekend. So we ride with her out there to Kentucky for her. Well, we stopped before we got to Kentucky. We stopped in a state. It's a state right before Kentucky. I just can't remember right now that state. But she was she went to go see a guy friend of hers first. I believe his name was Marcus, but I can't really remember. But we stayed at his house for a night, and then from there we drove to Kentucky. And while in Kentucky, they figured out where we was, and Sarah begins to call all of us, and then she calls. Finally, we convinced Cora to answer the phone, because now they're emailing. See, back then you could text, but it was like them old little Nokia like that. Okay, so it wasn't like texting how it is now.
Yeah.
So she emailed her and told her basically that the parents knew where she was because of the GPS tracker on the car, and it had went off on 80 when Cora hit 85 miles an hour, and that she needed to come home because their parents was extremely upset. So we ended up driving back to Fort Worth. We ended up driving back. Where did Sarah stay? I think Sarah stayed in Fort Worth. Sarah might have stayed. No, Sarah stayed in Fort Worth. She stayed in Fort Worth at the time because she was with Robert Henson. So we ended up driving to Fort Worth to Sarah's house, and we're there, and we're all upstairs. Me, Cora, Ashley. First lady comes in, and First lady came in so mad. She even kind of, first thing she said to Ashley was, "Are you pregnant?" And it was kind of offensive because Ashley had just lost her mom. Although later on down the road, she was pregnant, but we didn't know it at the time. And but from that conversation, Cora basically put the blame on Ashley and I. And that was the last straw for me, because it wasn't the first time that she had done it. She had done it multiple times. And so that was just the last straw for me. You're not going to keep lying on me, because you're making me look like I'm the shit starter. I'm the one who's initiating everything, and it's making your parents look at me like I'm the fast, like I got the Jezebel spirit and things of that nature. And I just got really tired, so I cut that friendship off. Once we left from there, and I went back home to my mom house, for one, my mama said I wasn't going back, and for two, I just had to realize, like, I'm not finna sit up here and keep getting myself tainted because you want to lie on me.
Right.
And so I had cut that friendship off for like almost 7 years before I got back reacquainted with Cora at the Easter picnic in 2014.
Okay. So about you guys getting reacquainted, how did that transpire? How did you, get reacquainted with her, especially to the point to where you're living with her at some point? What happened?
I stayed with Cora when I first had my daughter, and when I say stay, stay. Well, yeah, we stay together. We stay together.
Yeah.
When I had my daughter, Anaya, my oldest child, who's 15 now, who is a junior in high school, who will be entering in as a 16-year-old senior, make straight A's, all AP honor classes, including AP Culinary Arts, English, and Math.
Sounds like you very. I was just about to say, Mama. Sound like you very fit.
Yes, okay. And I had a lot of help, raising her with my mom and stuff like that. But that's mine right there, and I'm so proud of mine. But she when I had Anaya, I think that was the first time that I actually like just lived with Cora.
Mhm,
And Anaya was born in March, so this was like April, May of 2007.
mhm,
And we were staying in DeSoto.
mhm.
And she helped me with her, and it wasn't this energy, it was very much I'm just godmama, I'm auntie.
Right.
It wasn't no obsessive energy force as it was with Jason. And
Mm.
so we lived together. We Ashley eventually came and stayed as well after Cora had moved from the 2-bedroom apartment that she had with her then roommate. And in between moving there, we lived at the estate until the 1-bedroom got ready. But it was a huge 1-bedroom, almost like a two-bedroom apartment. And
Gotcha.
so we ended up moving into that apartment in the same apartment complex, just a different apartment. And my mom tricked me into coming home.
Why you
And
say
she said, I need you to
trick?
come home. I need you to do something. This was after months of
Oh,
staying there. Excuse me. And then she was like, when I did come home, Corey and Ashley and Monet, they brought me to my mom's apartment at the time. She was staying in an apartment. And I went upstairs thinking that I'm just gonna get some clothes and some shoes and stuff like that. When I came upstairs, my mom shut the door and told me that I wasn't going back. Yeah,
mm.
that's how that happened. And so,
Dang. Yeah.
yeah, so that was it. That was it. I didn't speak to Cora anymore since that moment.
Why
And
do you think she did that? Did she sense
because
something?
I had called my mom when First Lady came over to the house from the Kentucky trip, because this happened maybe like, a week after that.
Hmm.
And I had called my mom and I was basically telling her, what happened, and she didn't like it. My mom never really liked Cora. So
Mm.
my mom she she's not gonna do much of talking. She's gonna do a whole lot of action.
Action.
You know what I'm saying? So, and when she goes into mama bear defense mode, sometimes it's not always done in the right way, but the intention is right. And
Right.
so that's what she did. And so from that point up until 2014, I did not, I was not, we was not in a friendship. Now we would speak, we would be cordial. We would share, cordialness over the internet. But as far as having a friendship relationship, we did not have. That came into play in 2014 when my sister begged me to go to the Easter egg picnic that the church was having that year, and I was pregnant with Jason. And I bumped into her. Well, not bumped into her, but we ran into each
Mhm.
other there at the picnic, and I was already in a depressive state. I was very much so ashamed of myself. I was very much so angry. I was, hurt. I was in anguish. I was in a state of confusion because I couldn't believe that my life was how it was at that point in time. I was, leaving a relationship or coming from a relationship that I did not want to end. My child's
Mm.
father decided that he wanted to leave me. And that was detrimental to me at the time because I thought I was so much loved,
Right.
how I go. And so, and then here I am pregnant, with the fourth born child.
Mhm.
And these are the things that I told her at that picnic. Like, I don't even know what to do. I don't know where to go.
Right.
Um, and she told me that she'll be there for me. She'll help me. That we'll always be sisters. She prayed over me. She prayed over my belly and told me to, if I needed anything, to reach out to her. And we exchanged numbers. And then that was it. The next time I talked to Cora was when I went a month later in May, is when I went into labor. It was May 21st when I went into labor. I called her. And I called her because I did not want to be in the hospital alone having my child.
Mm.
And I called her. And she came with the motive, but she came. And that's how we got.
So okay, because I'm in your mind all the way, and I'm like, as you telling me this, I'm just putting myself in your shoes, and it sounds, I understand. I've been there. I'm in my second marriage. I never thought I would be in a second marriage, and I remember telling God, I don't want nobody else, Lord. And you're so gun ho on this reality that you pay for yourself. So I get it, and to be young and to be pregnant, and already hormonal. You've already lived with her once before, so you had no reason to believe that something was going to shift or that things did. But that
I didn't even
experience.
know at that time when I reacquainted back with her, I didn't even know she couldn't have children.
Mm.
I didn't even know that. I had no idea that she couldn't have children.
So somewhere in that period of you guys not seeing each other, you feel like she discovered that information? Because it seemed like a drastic
I guess
shift from.
so. She knew what she did when she got an abortion, right?
Right. So this
She
was
got
after
an
y'all
abortion.
split, right? She got one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Cora got an abortion before we split. It just didn't say anything.
Oh.
I think Cora got an abortion between the ages of 16 and 18.
Okay.
Is when I believe Cora got an abortion.
Okay. But I mean, after that, y'all stayed together, and she wasn't acting weird, and you already had kids at that time, right?
She wasn't acting weird because I don't think that she knew that she didn't know that she was barren.
Got you. So something
She didn't find out
happened.
she was barren until she was like 21, 22.
Got you. So, okay. And then here this gift from God. You and all your
But mind
problems.
you, she had tried to take other people's kids before I came around and was unsuccessful.
No, we didn't know that. Do tell. What do you mean? Where
Yes,
what
it was the baby by the name of Josiah. They called it the baby JoJo. She tried to get that baby, but the family came and took that baby. It was other,
So
she
wait.
she's
So
always been upset. Let me just say this. She's always wanted children. Okay.
Okay.
She's always been obsessed with having two to three kids. She's always wanted her daughter's name to be Amari, named after her brother Jamar. And she's always wanted a son to be named Nehemiah. Okay, so Cora has always wanted to be a mother, right? So I think when she found out that she couldn't have kids, she became obsessive with wanting kids even more. That she would be willing to do anything to get a child.
why not go the legal route? Why not adopt? Why not surrogate? They have
She
money to do
cannot
that.
adopt because she's mentally unstable.
And you feel like they would have found that out.
She's been in mental facility. She's been in mental hospital. She's gone to, I think it was Broken Ridges Recovery Center in California. She would not be able to pass a psychological background exam to legally adopt a child.
Well, what about surrogacy?
She could have done that. Why didn't she do that?
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I want to know.
They got the money for it. But that tells you how disturbed, seriously, for you to take people's kids. And you got all these other resources. Okay. So, all right. So let's get to, okay, you guys have, you call her. You're about to have your beautiful son. And she was there. How was her behavior in the labor room? Now that you look back, I know you probably was like, "Oh yes, thank you, sister." But now that you look back,
I wasn't even like, "Thank you." I was so out of it.
Right.
I was so out of it. I was dealing with postpartum depression. Um, I think I think truth be told, I was still dealing with depression from my child Cree, right? Because her and Jason are 10 months apart. Uh-huh.
Oh,
Her and Jason are 10
yes.
months apart. Okay. When I originally left my kid's dad, or when he left me, this is after Cree is born, right? When I moved from the city that he stayed in, we stayed in, and I was staying with him and his mother, after we left our apartment, and I moved back, I was actually pregnant with Cree. So I moved back in 2013, right?
Mm-hmm.
So being pregnant with Cree, I was staying at my brother's house, but still trying to fight for the relationship with my children's father. So I
Mm-hmm.
have Cree, and I'm still in a state of limbo, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I was a functioning depressive at that time,
Yeah.
right? And so then I find out I'm pregnant with Jason.
Oof.
I had my children because I don't believe in abortion.
Right.
That's just my personal
Mine
opinion, but
too.
I'm
Mine too.
also, it's your choice. Me
Mm-hmm.
personally, if I made that bed, I'm
I'm
gonna lay
laying
it.
in it. Me too.
Okay. So I find out that I'm pregnant with Jason. And that when I found out I was pregnant with Jason, and I'm already in this state and not stable, it just it did something to me mentally,
Yeah.
right? Because as a parent and as a mother, you want to be able to provide for your child, especially when you come from a background that I come from. I've always worked, I've always had income, I've always had my own place to stay. When I left my mother's house and moved to the city that I moved into, I had my own apartment. I had like two apartments. I had my own vehicle. I kept and maintained a job. I even worked in corporate America, right? And then I had a downfall.
Mhm.
I hit a low point in my life, and now I'm not working, right?
Right.
Now I'm not able to even get an apartment leased to me because of the charge that I caught, because I didn't want to snitch on my friend.
Mhm.
Okay. So that caused a downfall in my life. So that also had a lot to do with the depressive state that I was in while carrying Jason.
Mhm.
I went from working Fortune 500 companies to having to move back home, to living with, my sister or my brother or my mom, and working at a beauty supply store.
Yeah.
I went
It
from
was a
making
reality check for you.
$16.50 an hour to making not even $9 an hour. You know, that was a lot for me mentally. I went from
Mhm.
having a healthy, somewhat healthy relationship state environment to now I'm literally struggling just to eat and feed my children. And that took a toll on me mentally during that pregnancy. On top of the fact that me and my mom didn't have the best of relationship. It was up and down. And so being pregnant with him so quickly after I just had Cree. I had Cree. Cree was born in July, and by that September, I was pregnant with Jason.
Wow.
Found out that November of 2013 that I was pregnant with Jason, and it just wasn't good.
Overwhelming.
Yeah.
Overwhelming. And then you don't have nobody there to say, hey, maybe you need to go talk to somebody. Maybe we
Yeah,
need to
didn't
get
have
some
nobody.
help.
Even after I had him, like CORA in the hospital room, to answer your question.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I got a little sidetracked there,
No,
but
you're
to
okay.
answer your question, in the hospital room, it was very much so. looking back in hindsight, I can tell you what it was, but me in that moment, I was just out of it. I didn't know. I was very emotional. I was very detached from my child. Um,
That's a clear sign.
it was, girl, I cried every day, all day. I was even crying while I was feeding him, breastfeeding him. I was crying. When his dad did come to the hospital, or the man did come to the hospital,
I'm not gonna play with you.
we argued so much that the nurses came in. It's not even, we wasn't even arguing. I was doing a crying arguing, like not yelling. I was just emotional.
Yeah.
The nurse even had to come in and say, we're gonna have to ask you to leave if
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna keep, having these emotions going on with her, And
Yeah.
Cora saw all of that. She's the
Mm.
one who told me that I was dealing with postpartum depression.
Okay.
Sissy, I think you have postpartum depression, Sissy. And then when the nurse came in, she telling the nurse, I think she's dealing with postpartum depression, all while holding my child. She held my child the whole entire time she was at that hospital. And she came to the hospital every single day that I was there. Every single day I was there. If I put him down, she would pick him up. And I was so out of it that I didn't even say, no, Cora, put him down. Because
Yeah, I don't want to
I don't
spoil
want to
them.
get him spoiled.
Yeah.
As a mama,
Mm-hmm.
you better not hold that baby
Too
all
long.
damn day.
Yeah,
You
put them
hold that
down. You're
baby
gonna
all
spoil
damn
them.
day, that baby gonna be crying, hollering,
Yeah.
screaming, yelling. You ain't gonna get
Yeah.
nobody sleep.
Yeah.
But I was even so out of it at that time, I couldn't even say that.
Right.
I was mentally, physically, emotionally not available.
Right.
I was deep into postpartum depression.
Right.
And
So
I believe it was so deep. I'm sorry, I got to pour
no,
my
no,
apple
no, no.
juice.
You go ahead.
I love apple juice. I believe it was so deep, that postpartum depression was so deep because of the depressive state that I was in
Already in.
before I had Jason.
Makes
Right?
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Okay. So she's at the hospital. She's being sissy with you and what I'm saying, just being there for you. How did you get to a point to where you were staying with her? How did that happen? Or you were there at the home with her? Or how did that?
Okay, so after I left the hospital, I went to Cora's house for 2 weeks. And when I was pregnant with Jason, I didn't know, first of all, I didn't know that I was pregnant with Jason. I got pregnant with Jason in September. I didn't find out I was pregnant with Jason into November. And yes, I did used to smoke weed. I do not smoke marijuana now. Um, because you ain't gonna get me. Okay.
You powder.
You can drug test me right now. I'm gonna pass with flying colors. I've never done any other type of drugs, never done crack, cocaine, none of that shit. It was just always marijuana. So when I was pregnant, I did smoke marijuana, but this is before I knew that I was pregnant. Once I found out I was pregnant, of course, you have to stop drinking, you have to stop smoking, you have to stop doing all those things. So when I had Jason, they did find, what is it called? The Mecca, Mecca. I'm gonna use the Mecca something. It's like the first poop.
Yeah, it's because my
The
son
first
had
poop.
that.
But
He
it wasn't
Maconin.
strong enough for, they knew that, okay, this is something that happened early on. It wasn't throughout the duration of her pregnancy. And so Jason had to go to the NICU because he had jaundice, and he had jaundice really, really bad, where they had to keep him in the NICU under the light for, several days, a couple days. And so after that we had left, and I had went, and I had to say that because of some of the things that people are saying, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna tell my own story, and I'm gonna tell the truth about my story, whether you like it
Right.
or not.
Right.
These are the facts, you know.
Right.
And I'm not just placing blame on Cora. I take full accountability and responsibility um for my lack of ability in that moment to be stronger and better due to my depressive state. Okay. That's the only thing that I would take
But
accountability
I'm
for.
sorry, I'm gonna have to cut you there because even when the state takes a child, they allow you to get right. They
I
don't just
mean,
keep your
yes,
child
I'm
from
not
you like
saying it,
this.
but I'm saying my state of
Right, I
mind.
get
That's the
you.
only thing I'm gonna take
Right,
responsibility for. I'm not gonna take responsibility for what
because
they
people are
did to
doing
me.
too much if
And
they putting
even
that
if you
over your
say I'm
head.
placing blame or whatever you want to, whatever have you, these are just the facts. You know what
That
I'm saying?
is, and
And I have to
I
be
appreciate you
honest
doing that.
with
Yeah,
my story because it's not gonna make sense for me to lie in any way, shape, form,
right,
or fashion. And
right.
so yeah, so the hospital watched the baby from there, but he never went through any withdrawals. He wasn't malnourished. He didn't lose a lot of weight. The doctor said that he was fine. The doctor said that, you know, that no babies really have like crack addict symptoms from marijuana. They
Right,
really don't even look at it as a drug in the medical field. If we
right,
just and
right.
that doctor said that on stand as well. So I just want to clear that up as well. So I come to her house for 2 weeks after I had Jason simply because I didn't want to be in my mom's house. And I think we probably got into an argument or something like that, maybe, or I just didn't want to be around that type of energy at that time. So Jason, me, and my other children was at Cora's house for 2 weeks. My first time meeting Brandon, her ex-husband, was the day I was leaving the hospital with Jason.
Mhm.
And so we went over there only for 2 weeks, and then after that we went back to my mom's house. So I was living
Mm,
with my mom,
okay.
and she was supposed to be helping me with Jason. And so he would be with me probably for maybe like 3 4 days. Then he'll go over there on the weekend, and then she'll bring him back. If I was looking for work, if I was looking for a job, if I was just tired as a mom because I have other children. Jason is not my only child. She would get Jason because she was his aunt, but she was also his godmother, right?
Right.
So this is had him in May. July comes. July comes and she tells me, you know, it's not healthy for him to be going back and forth like this. This is the first time that she brought that up to me. And I was like, huh? What are you talking about? Really didn't pay no mind to it because she kind of just like brought it up and slid it in there. And then she was like, well, I'm getting ready. She was writing a book called Faith in It. And she was getting
Mm,
ready to start like traveling and things like that with that book. And so she was like, I want to be able to, take Jason, and if he's with me and he needs to go to the doctor and stuff like that, I need to be able to do that. So she had me sign this paper stating that, she can,
like a
um,
guardianship.
it was a guardianship, but I didn't know that it was a guardianship.
You thought it was like a permission slip, like when kids gone.
Yeah, because I've done it for my mom before.
Mhm.
When I've had to work and my mom has to have take my children to the doctor or things like that, I've had to write a note to say that my mom it
Able to do,
has,
yeah, yeah.
my permission to
Uh-huh.
be here with my child at this medical facility
Right,
and to make decisions for my kids in my absence. You know what I'm
right.
saying? So I'm thinking that's the type of letter it is because
Mm-hmm.
that's what she's telling me. So, and when people like you didn't read, this is why I didn't read it. I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking that this is this type of letter. I've done this before with my mom, and it was not illegal guardianship paperwork. It was just a letter saying, yes, my mom is able to bring my child to the doctor. Yes, you're able to discuss the medical concerns of my
Right.
children with my mom.
Okay, so you just assumed, and
Yeah.
you weren't
Now I should
thinking.
have read it,
Yeah, but you wasn't thinking like
but
that
I
because this is
wasn't
somebody
thinking,
you
and I
trust.
wasn't even the right state of mind. This is my
Right.
friend. I'm
Yeah.
listening to. I trust my
You
friend.
trust her. Yeah.
I was so focused on trying to get and maintain a job and get us a place to stay and things like that. Like I wasn't I wasn't focused. I wasn't thinking. And honestly, I just really wasn't there mentally, physically. I was not in my right state of mind at all. So she had me sign that paperwork. Okay. So that's in July. July, August, September comes. September 2014. My baby was born in May 2014. September 2014 comes. She says, Michelle, I had to reword some things because when I tried to take him to the doctor, they said something about something. She made it some kind of lie. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was like, okay. She was like, I just had to add something else to it, but it's the same thing. It's just, you know, saying that he's able to fly with us and we're able to take him to the doctor if you're not there. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, sign. Not knowing that it was the same legal guardianship paperwork. They just put more
Details.
more like details in it
Mm-hmm.
to take it up a notch, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
And so that was that. I didn't find out until court when we went to trial, and we, you know how you have to give the evidence to each party. I didn't find out to then that I signed a legal guardianship. That's when I found out then. And it wasn't signed by a notary at the church. It wasn't done. It was done at a UPS notary store. So the notary didn't read it because it's at a UPS store, and it was
Girl.
some random man at the UPS store, and that's how it got notarized. And I wasn't even thinking because you don't have to have a permission note notarized to get to
Mm-mm.
a medical facility or to fly.
Dang, but you didn't have your bearings about yourself, so you
No,
couldn't.
I didn't. I
Ah,
fully trusted her. I was very vulnerable. I was very gullible. I was very naive. I was very depressed. Like I told her, I felt like I was in a dark hole, and I had been trying to climb out of it, but every time I try to climb out of it, I fall back down. Like
right,
that was my brain. Like that's what I was thinking. That's what I was feeling in that moment, in that time. And I told her that, and I felt like that for over a year,
right.
almost 2 years. I felt like that.
Well, we're gonna take a quick, small little break. You guys, go grab you something to drink, something to snack on. It's not over. We're just getting started. We'll be right back. Suja, meaning long, beautiful life, embodies the promise that flows from the cold pressed beverages it delivers in each and every bottle. Now, today they carry on their founder's mission to get the best quality organic and non GMO beverages into as many hands as possible. Now, I am happy to say I am one of those hands. Yes, I'm Whitney D of TheWhitneyDTV, and I am a proud ambassador of Suja Juice. I love, personally, their vibrant probiotic juice, and their immunity elderberry shots got me and my family through the roughest times of COVID-19. Now, if you want to find a quick and resourceful way to take on all of your vitamins and nutrients, try sujajuice.com. Visit the description box down below to get more information and let them know that Whitney D or Whitney DTV sent you. Bye. SujaJuice.com, okay? And you can actually pick up this juice at any of your retail stores, Walmart or Whole Foods. I am a brand ambassador, okay? SujaJuice.com, okay? We just left off, if you guys are just joining us, with hearing how CORA just juiced. I mean, in the words, I mean, you in the street life, you know what they mean. Just basically like juiced and manipulated Michelle in a very vulnerable state that she was in. And I want you to hear this comment real quick, Michelle, because this is what I was saying. Shamika says you can't take accountability for something you didn't choose. You didn't choose depression, and you can't dictate how it affects you. And that's the reason why I was like, I appreciate you doing that for the people in the back. You know what I'm saying? Because you were talking about how you had marijuana in your system, stuff like that. Look, I was just saying though, because the thing is, at the end of the day, it's like even when the state takes your child, they give you an opportunity to get on your feet.
Yeah.
How many years has it been now?
I've been fighting since 2016.
Oh, okay. So let's continue where you left off. I just want to make that clear because it's like, you can say all these things about me, but what now? What is still keeping you? And we have a update for you guys that are tuning in. We're going to get into that a bit later, but I just wanted to set the foundation for those that are just hearing this story for the first time. So by this time, you've re-signed the same page or a form without your acknowledgement, with a little twang to it, as you were saying.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And so that was September of 2014. And the reason why I'm saying the dates, because you can see how the play is set up,
Exactly.
From newborn. Like, he's a newborn. You didn't even wait till my baby was like a year old, to try to set it up. You was getting paperwork in place because you knew eventually, because you know me. So Michelle before depression. Michelle before dealing with postpartum depression. So you know you know how I am
what is hidden for.
Okay, so once I woke up out of that, once I really got the help that I needed, that I wasn't going for none of that. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
she absolutely started to create a paper trail from the beginning of his birth. Okay, so I just want to that's why I'm saying the dates in the order that I'm saying them in. So we continue on how we were. He'll be with me, and he'll go over to her house, and then eventually she was like, no, we just cannot keep doing this. In my mind, I'm again, I'm out of it, because me now would be like, girl, what the hell are you talking about? I got to do this with their daddy. They go over their daddy house every weekend, every other weekend, 2-3 days out the week. Like some custody agreements is 1 week on, 1 week off. So it's just like, what are you talking about? But then it was just, I was just so lost. I was so lost. And so she was just like, no, he needs stability. Look around. This is what he needs. Wouldn't you want this for him?
Wow.
I believe God gave you Jason for us, me and Brandon.
Girl, okay.
She started sending me adoption.
Okay, hold on. Time out. Because I heard you say this before. Let me say this while we got everybody ears. Y'all need to stop doing this. And I love the Lord. I still, I've been through church hurt and stuff myself. I still go to church. Maybe it's a different one, but I still go to church. I still love the Lord. Y'all got to stop this. God is not going to tell you that somebody else's husband is your husband. God is not going to tell you that somebody's child is your child. That's why we have adoptions. That's why we have surrogacies. That's why we have other resources and ways that you can do it. And let me be very clear, okay? Let's go to the Bible. Sarah, if it's meant for you to have a baby, you're going to be 95 years old and God will give you that.
That woman had a baby at 95 in the Bible. She sure did.
So if that's what God really truly wants for you, he's going to make it happen. You ain't going to have to steal. You ain't going to have to manipulate. You're not going to have to do stuff. And if it was God's will, it will be peaceful. She's not at peace. Are you peace? Are you peace right now?
Right now in my life?
Well, aside from that, I'm talking with the situation with your son being gone. Are you
Oh,
at peace?
hell
Oh, okay. So
no.
it ain't of God.
It's a
It's
whole
not of
chapter.
God.
No.
God is not the author of confusion. But go off.
Oh, hell nah. I'm not at peace with that at all. I think I won't ever be at peace until I have my baby back.
Oh,
But yeah, she was like, look around, do you want this? Whatever. And then she starts sending me videos about adoption and this, that, and the other. And she starts asking me if I, would give my son up for adoption. And I was like, what? No, Cora, I just need help. I just need resources. And no, I've never used Cora. Okay. I was Cora's real friend. I kept it real with Cora. I told her when she was wrong, when she wasn't wrong. Cora has not given me a lot of money over the years. I was Cora's friend for who I thought she was. Okay. Right. I'll never clout chase behind her. I never cared about her status quo because Cora didn't have a status quo. Okay. Let's just be clear.
Can
Cora
I be
did
clear?
not have a status quo.
I didn't know her until I heard your
Cora
story.
did not have a status quo. She was nobody from just because she was Bishop T.D. Jake's daughter, but that didn't mean shit to me. I met the girl when I was 10, 12 years old.
Right.
Right. So it was never me using her and whatever, like, and to keep it all the way real and funky, the reason why I would have to help her pay her bills is because she didn't manage her money properly.
Where will her money go?
Huh?
Where will her money go?
She was spending. They never taught them the value of a dollar. They never educated them on how to maintain and keep money. And she's spoken about this, so this is not something abnormal that I'm saying. Like, I had to help her. And when I say help her pay bills, even when we were staying in the DeSoto apartments, my dad died when I was 10 years old. So, and he was in the army and stuff like that. So I would get a check every month. And in that, my mom eventually started giving me money from the check. And while we was living together in DeSoto, if the lights got turned off, because I paid the bill. I put in on the rent. And even when I moved in with her in 2016, you have to pay where you lay, whether you have a job or not. You better have a skill. You better do something that creates income. So even when I was out of a job, I've always had a skill. I've always done hair. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I can get a client or two clients and make a quick couple $100, and pay a bill. That was that. I like, just because I wasn't working a physical job doesn't mean I didn't have a hustle about me. Okay.
Right.
So yeah, it was nothing for me to use her for. Right. I knew that because she was Bishop T.D. Jake's daughter, I knew that the church had a warehouse, and I was willing to work at the warehouse. I was willing to get a job at the church. I wanted to work, not have a handout. Okay. Right. That's what I wanted to do. Work, not have a handout. So, but she didn't even help me with that, although she said she would. What she did was try to keep me in a struggle, to keep me in that depressive state, to keep my mind low and down so that she could do what she did in trying to take my child, in hopes that she could wrap it up before I got out of that state of mind. So,
so you signed the 2 documents. You're at this point now to where your son is traveling. And he was traveling with her at a young age.
Not all the time, but he's traveling with her off and on. And I'm still thinking, it's still, God mom friendship, whatever. So she begins to question me about adoption, and I'm telling her, no, that's not what I want to do. So then when I'm telling her, no, that's not what I want to do, she begins to full force the manipulation process, fully force it, right? She begins to tell me that God told her that I had my son for her, and asking me if she could pay me pay me for my child. I'm like, pay me for my child. I knew enough to be like, girl, I don't want to get my child up. I just want, I just need some help. I just need some help. To offering my, when I said no, she was like, well, do you think, because I said no, and then I was like, and I don't even think, his father would do that. And then she was like, well, do you think if we give y'all both $5,000, you can just, and that's what she did. And I was like, what, Cora? No, and it didn't click then. I can't tell you why it didn't click then. I can't tell you why I wasn't like, oh no, I need to get the F from out here. I can't tell you. I cannot answer that because I wasn't even in my right state of mind. I wasn't even thinking and functioning as a stable minded person.
Right.
I knew enough in some areas not to go that route and not to do that. But when it came to taking a step back and really looking at what she was doing, I was not in my right mind to do that. So I didn't. And so from that, she starts getting aggressive. She starts saying things like, that baby belongs here. When I would take him and she felt like he was gone too long, bring my baby back, but she would always try to like say it jokingly. But when
Playfully.
I look back and hear the tone, it was never jokingly. It was like, that bitch really thought that was her baby.
Yeah, she did.
I'm sorry, Whitney,
You
you know
fine. You
that
fine.
side. She really thought that that was her child. So when I still wouldn't give in, um I actually wrote a letter, an email to her telling her, and this is after she put me in the saying that she could be my therapist because she was a licensed minister and she could counsel me, and had me sitting in her office and recording me, asking me questions about who Jason was to me. And this is after she had, started making me have thoughts because of everything that she's putting into my ears and telling me in my mind about, that God gave gave Jason to me for her. Mind you, I told her I was ashamed. I told her I was, not happy. I told her that I felt like I failed as a person. I felt like I failed as a mom, and I don't know why God gave me another baby. I really opened up to her about how I was feeling in that moment, but that was just that moment. What was
Yeah.
temporary is not permanent. What's current is
Hmm.
not conclusion. And she completely took that narrative and ran with it.
Yeah.
So I then I was like, Cora, I wrote in the letter thinking that, okay, if I write this in the letter, then maybe she'll get the picture that I don't want to give my baby up. I just need some help. I wrote a long ass email, and I was saying, like, I could do this and I could run from my responsibility, and yes, he could stay here, and yes, it would be this way, or yes, it would be that way. I think I may post that letter up email. I have debated about that for a long time. And then but at the end of that email, I said I could do all those things. I said, but what I do know is that God gave Jason to me. What I do know is that he's not discouraged in me yet. And although I'm fighting this depression and I'm fighting this postpartum depression, I want to keep my child, and I pray that God will open, because at this time now I found out that she can't have kids. Somewhere along the lines, like, I pray that, God will open your womb so that you may receive da 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 da. Cynthia. Well, honey, I guess that she wasn't going for that, baby. Next thing I know, we are leaving church, and she has this prophet come down by the name of Galena, and this is, yeah, she has this prophet come down by the name of Galena, this is what I forgot to say on last night's interview. She had this prophet come down by the name of Gaylena from Chicago, Gaylena White. They call her Dr. Gaylena White.
Mhm.
And we go to church, and after church, Cora always cook. So
Mhm.
everybody goes to Cora's house after church. And sorry,
You're okay.
it was one of those Sundays where the spirit really
Uh-huh.
sat on the house.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
And you were just so full of
Full.
the spirit,
Yeah,
so it carries you,
yeah.
home and stuff like that. Okay. So unbeknownst to me, I was walking into an exorcism. And that exorcism was was
For you.
for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Oh.
I walk into the house. Dr. Gaylene is there. Is other women there, and the furniture is moved back. They got candles lit around. They have worship music playing. And they're walking in a circle, speaking in tongues. They're walking in a circle, speaking in tongues. And I come in.
Was there an interpreter there?
Dr. Gaylena is an interpreter and a prophetess.
The same one that told you that somebody else's baby was. Oh,
Yeah, I'm getting her.
you say because biblically,
Yeah,
when people talk in tongues, you supposed to have an interpreter there.
yeah.
You don't just talk out. But go ahead, go off. I'm sorry. Go
Yes,
ahead.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That
Okay.
is order.
Oh, you know. Child.
So I come in and I'm like, what is going on? Because I've been going to church all my life. All my life. I ain't never seen a circle walking, candles lit.
Right.
It was giving very much so witchcraftiness. It scared it, Whitney. It for a person to already be mentally not there and available. It scared the living daylights out of me. I'm like, oh Lord, Michelle, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Trying to
Go
keep
ahead.
it real. That's
No.
my thought process.
Yeah.
So I walk in and they're walking in the circle, and they're speaking in tongues and they're praying. And Cora was like, come in, come in, come in. And just praying, how she be praying. Everybody know how she be praying. With that tongue. But she be praying. So she comes in, and so I come in and my eyes just book and I'm just looking like, oh Lord, what's finna happen? So Gaylena grabs my hand. I used to wear a promise ring that I put on my finger when I had Jason because I knew that I was having detachment issues, but I made a promise that, I would always be there.
Mm-hmm.
So I wore that ring, and Cora knew why I put that ring on my finger because I said it when I was asked who is Jason, and I was talking, and I eventually talked about the ring that I had on. So I come into the room, and they bring me to the middle of the floor as they're walking around me. Gaylena begins to pray over me in tongues, right? Then she lays me down on my back, and she started from my ankles to my head, from my head to my ankles, going like this, praying and speaking in tongues. And then now she's getting so loud with the tongues, it's not even sounding like a tongue, it's sounding like a demonic force, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Then they get the oil, right? And now the whole time she's praying over me, the other women that are there are still walking in a circle. Mm-hmm. This really happened.
They gave me chills. No, I believe you. I see.
This
That's
really
what they
happened.
call a
She
sister
really did
circle.
this.
That's witchcraft. That's what they call a sister
She
circle.
really did this. So she and the other ladies are still walking in a circle, and she's praying over my body, speaking in tongues, going up and down. Then they get the oil, and she starts, basically putting
Anointing
the
you.
oil down on my body. And then as she's praying over me. She slides her hand from the top of my left shoulder, and of course, in between the speaking in tongues, she was speaking English a little bit. Right. I just can't remember everything she was saying, but she slides her hand down and she removes my promise ring to my children. She removes the ring. It was a silver. It was a real silver band.
What the ring have to do with anything? I know, but I'm just saying, why did you have to do that? That don't make sense.
Because
but you know what you was doing.
To break the bond.
Yes, that's demonic. That's evil.
Yeah, she was trying to break the bond between my son and I to get me to conform to believing that I did not have Jason for me, that I had him for CORA. So, I mean, I know that now because, you know.
Right.
But yeah, she took that ring off. And it's when she took that ring off, I felt a break inside my body.
I was about to say,
I felt a break inside my body. The whole time I was laying there, I didn't cry. Soon as she took that ring off, I felt a break inside my body and tears just started flowing down my face, you know. And I didn't even know I was crying. I didn't even know I was crying. So, once once she do all that, you know, she stands me up, I'm crying, and she was like, it's gonna be okay. You did not have Jason for you. You had Jason for CORA and Brandon. I seen Jason in a dream. I had a vision. God gave me a vision. I seen Brandon sitting on the throne with Jesus. I seen Jason sitting on his lap. And he was just so happy. And he was laughing and he was full of joy. And that's how I know God is telling me that you did not have your son for you. You had your son for Brandon and for CORA. You came to reinforce what CORA had been talking to you about privately, unbeknownst to me, Gaylena White. That's how she got her child. The same methods that CORA did. It's a story for another day. Yeah. So she she did that. That happened. That really, really happened.
Spiritual manipulation.
When I got up from that, I was so numb. I couldn't hear anything. I really couldn't see. When I tell you they put a spell on me.
No, that was about to say. That sound like they put something on you.
A spell on me. And so then after that, now we're in 2015. Now we're in 2015. So then after that, you know, CORA calls me over for something. I probably to cook. I'm not really sure, but we come over, and she takes me up to Brandon in her office. Brandon says he doesn't remember this, but Brandon was in the office when she said this and when she did this to me. I went into the office. She slammed me up against the wall. Not really like slammed me, but like pushed me up against the wall. And she shut the door first, locked it. All the lights was off except for the projector. They had a projector in the room because we'll go up there and we'll smoke and we will watch TV from the projector they had on that faced the wall. So all the lights was off except for the projector light. And she pushed me up against the wall. She came in, she locked the door, closed the door, locked the door. I immediately get scared. You know, I was a little punk then because I was not there.
You weren't there.
I wasn't there. So she pushed me up against the wall and she says, just like this, if you don't give Jason to me, I'm gonna take him from you. That shit fucked me up mentally. Like when she said it, it was like she looked so demonic when she said it. Like it scared the living daylights out of me. And I was like, oh my God, like what the fuck, you know? And then shortly after that, So that happened. I was just scared. I didn't know what to do. She
Bad.
had basically kind of secluded me from my family and had me thinking that my family, were my enemy. My mom was my enemy. My mom was against me, constantly throwing up in my face, how up and down our relationship was, and just basically constantly painting my mom as, this picture, just constantly talking about the bad, the bad, the bad, the bad. So that's what I would focus on, and couldn't listen to my mom when she would tell me, Michelle, you need to get your baby. Michelle, you don't need to be over there. Michelle, you don't need to be, listening to
Can I say this real quick? Ain't it funny after that seance, now all of a sudden you can't listen to the voice of reasoning?
Yeah.
Did you notice that? Did you peep that?
I peep it now. I didn't peep it then. I didn't.
Wow.
I
Y'all
was
better
just
know that
under whatever
that's
she put me
real.
under.
That's real. I'm telling you, that's real. Satan is powerful. The Lord is powerful. But you better know, depending on your intentions and what you operate in, because all of that sound like a freaking. It sounded like first you going in there like a witch circle, like you know what I'm saying, and then you in the middle, and then all like it's a spiritual manipulation, and I don't like it. God does not take stuff by force. And for her to shove you up like that and say, you don't give it to me, I'm going to take it. That's the devil. The devil takes, the Lord gives. Oh my God. I'm sorry. Because I'm like,
It's okay.
okay. All right.
And so then after that, she calls me over there saying that she's cooking. When I say after that, I'm not saying like right after that. I'm saying like
Right.
it
Some
was
time.
like maybe months, several months after that. But from that, when she did that, I just thought in my head, I have to do whatever I have to do to stay close to my baby. So that's what I did.
Right.
And I was still up under that manipulation as well. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it scared me into being obedient to what she wanted me to do, if that makes sense.
It do.
Hold on, give me 1 second.
No problem. You guys, we're going to take a quick break while Michelle takes a moment, okay? We'll be right back. Welcome, everybody. I'm Whitney D of WhitneyDTV and the producer of When Time Stopped. And I am here to let you guys know that we are casting for When Time Stopped 2, a docu-series on childhood sexual abuse. Now, myself, along with 3 other individuals, told our stories, but we want to hear from you. Now, are you ready to tell your story? Are you a survivor or are you a parent? We would like to hear from you. Here's how you can submit.
When Time Stopped 2, now casting. Seeking female and male adults ready to share their story of sexual abuse or parents of a child or children that have suffered from sexual abuse, and you are ready to speak about your journey. Email your story and contact information to WhitneyDavisplanning@gmail.com.
All right, you guys, we're back.
Yeah, so then after that, she calls me over, and this is Jason's birthday.
How old was he turning at this time?
He's turning 1 year old.
Girl, this all happened before the baby turned 1.
Oh yeah, this all happened before he turned 1.
Michelle, oh my God.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And people act like people hear what they want to hear, and it's like y'all have to pay attention to the timeline.
Girl,
You have to pay
clearly.
attention to the timeline to understand the manipulation, the coercion, and the duress, and what they did to me.
Yeah.
All of that happened in under a year.
You
All
just
of that
had the
happened in
baby.
under a year.
You just had him.
I just had him. I just had my child. I was definitely in deep postpartum
You
depression.
were. That takes like seriously half a year to like years.
It could be years depending on
Yeah, it can be, especially if it doesn't get addressed. And yours never did.
Never. And she knew to take full throttle advantage of it early, because if she didn't, and now she wouldn't have been able to get him. Let me just say it like that. She wouldn't have been able to get him.
Right.
So on his birthday, the evening before his birthday, so this is May 20. Message it later. So this is May 20 in 2015. She calls, she's like, hey sissy, I'm cooking, why don't y'all come over? At this time, I'm with my youngest son's dad. My youngest son's dad, so I wasn't even pregnant with Liam yet. So we come over there, and we chilling. It's the normal thing for us to go over there because she cooked. Everybody love Cora's butter biscuits. I ain't gonna take that from her. That girl, she cooked now. Brandy's parents had to show her how to properly clean the food. But once she learned how to properly clean the food, Cora can cook. So we will come over to get food. And so we came over that particular night, and when I woke up, she was like, hey sissy, come on, we about to go somewhere. So it was me, Cora, Brandon. Yeah, it was just me, Cora, and Brandon. And on the ride, she began to tell me, and Brandon was in the car as well. On the ride, they began to, just talk to me about, how Jason is always going to be in good hands, and that I didn't have anything to worry about, and that they will always be there for me. I don't think Brandon knew what all Cora had did. Brandon, I believe that Brandon acted off what Cora told him.
Mm-hmm.
Because he comes from, a mom who had more than two kids,
right,
and was a single parent at one time. He knows what the struggle is because he comes from the struggle. Mm-hmm. I think Brandon truly operated based off standing with his wife.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna put that out there. So Cora is in the car talking to me, and she, just the whole manipulation shit again. So once we get to where we going, we went to Judge Faith Johnson's office, and we call her Judge Faith because she's a lawyer, but she used to be a judge. But she's also a member at the Potter's House, and she's also a board member of the Potter's House. So she wasn't even supposed to touch this shit.
That's what I would say.
It was a conflict of interest from the beginning. Okay? From the beginning.
No, this was a setup.
Definitely was a setup.
This was a setup.
Definitely was a setup. Absolutely. Absolutely, definitely was a setup.
Oh my gosh.
So, we go to the office, and I immediately start crying. We sitting down. I think Cora is sitting across from me. I'm sitting on one side. They have 3 notaries that came in, and Faye Johnson comes in. She's sitting at the head of the table, and I immediately start crying because I don't want to do this. I am being forced to do this. I am being told that you're going to take my child anyway. I am being put under exorcism. I am being, mind guilted, every chance that she fucking got. Mm-hmm. And so Judge Faith was like, Michelle, you don't look. Judge Faith knew I didn't want to do this shit. She looked at me and she said, Michelle, you look like you don't want to do this. And I just cried and shook my head. No, Cora gets up from her seat. She comes around. She firmly puts her hand, and that's that reinforcing satanic bullshit. Okay. Mm-hmm. She firmly pushes her hand on my back and says, you will do this. You're going to do this. You shall do this. That's what she told me, and I did it. I did it. I did it. I've struggled with that a long time, because
Oh God.
I didn't want to do it. And I didn't know what to do. I was scared. Um, she told me that she'll destroy me if I didn't do it.
Right.
And I was scared out of my mind. And nobody in my family knew, because she made it to where I couldn't tell them, you know. She would tell me things like it's nobody else's business, it's nobody else's decision. Um, you don't need the influence of anybody else. You only need to, talk to me. And so I didn't I felt very trapped. I
Right.
felt very alone, and I felt like I didn't have a choice
Right.
but to do that. And I live with it every day. But um I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Take your time. But I want to tell you, you have to forgive yourself. The situation that you're in, that you were in, crazy as hell. Like that, and you gotta understand when you're under spiritual manipulation, like seriously, you are not operating as yourself. She got you good. She got you early. She got you right off of that thing. That's why I was just like, wait a minute. How is 21? Girl, you had nobody. You had no help. You were in complete duress. And to be honest with you, I don't even know. That's how I know it's a setup. Because if a judge, an authentic judge, saw that you were stressed out and crying like that, they would have stopped it and had you calm down. And
The
they would
judge
have.
didn't even do that at the
That's what I'm
trial when she saw
saying.
that I was
That's
doing it.
distress. That's illegal. You can't do that. That's duress. You can't, if you're doing all this ain't no, where do I sign? Okay. Because that's what happens whenever you are aware of the process and you know what's going on. You're ready to do it. You know, no, it's okay. You over there having a mental breakdown right there in front of me. And you mean to tell me you going to ask me, do I want to do this? You see, and I need you to stop. I need you to stop because that was not your fault. You didn't want to do it. You can't beat yourself up for that and continue to beat yourself up for that. That was not you. You had no choice. And to be honest with you, no shade. I can only imagine the position you in. I know you said you never looked at her as, CORA JAKES, that was just your friend. But look what you was up against. Look who you were up against as far as, like I keep saying, the pillar of the church community. That
That's
huge
why I always
family.
felt defeated. I always
That's what I'm
felt like
saying.
I didn't like, what am I gonna do?
Right.
What am I gonna do? What am I going to do?
This one Carisha down the street somewhere. This is Cora Jakes, that last name alone. So no, ma'am, I'm gonna need you to forgive yourself. You look what you was up against. Like,
I'm working
no.
on it. I'm working on it.
Yes, that's okay because I'm gonna connect with you. This is just for y'all, but I'm really gonna be dealing with Michelle on the back end. We're gonna get some stuff cracking. I'm gonna hug on you and love on you because all people in the church ain't like this. This is not of God. I don't care how close you may look and appear to be. But let's get back to it. Okay, so you sign everything off and over.
Yes, but
Right?
at the time I didn't know that it didn't have no standing. It was just a piece of paper. I still had my rights. Only a judge can terminate a parent's rights. Even if you go to an attorney and you sign them over, only a judge can terminate the rights. And you have to be served. You have to come to court. The judge has to ask you, is this what you really want to do? Because a judge can only terminate them if you agree to do that.
Is that still in standing now?
What?
That you still technically have your rights, or
No.
okay,
This
so
is at the time.
this is just at the time. Okay.
And so from I still had my rights all the way up until April 2018.
And you had no idea.
No idea.
And you had no attorney there at the time when this was going on?
The attorney, the first time I went to trial.
No, I'm talking about in that room, that area with her. With
no, I didn't have no attorney.
You didn't have an attorney with you?
I did not have an attorney. Did not have an attorney.
Because he would have let you know your rights at that moment. Okay, you know you got 90 days. But you didn't have you was none the wiser.
Yeah, I didn't have no attorney. There was no meeting prior. There was no, let me give you this so you can look over this and give it an attorney so you can make the best decision for you. This
was another ambush. You got drove up on like this again. She just brought you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Girl, that is weird. That's psychotic. This is some Lifetime stuff. I'm sorry. It's some lifetime, like, oh my gosh. Okay. So time is going on. You're under the assumption that it's over, right?
Yeah, I'm under the assumption that this is it. You know, I don't have anything left to him. So I just stay connected to CORA as much as I could to have that still be, you know, in his life. And so that was in 2015. I ended up moving in with CORA in 2016, January of 2016. I ended up moving in with CORA. Now, mind you, even though Jason was at CORA in 2015, I would still be over there often. It was never a month that went by that I was not with my child, okay? I still took care of him. He was still on my insurance all the way up to 2018. Hell, at the time I had food stamps. He was still on my food stamps. I was still.
But you had signed him off though.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I thank God that he was still on my insurance. I thank God that,
right,
you know, I still had those things because I'm able to use that when I go back to court. You know, to show like I always obtain care, custody, and control over him. Like I've always supported him. I've always, you know, done my part.
Because if you sign a child off, you would have disconnected everything. If this is something you wanted, if this is something that, you know, was agreed upon, you cut everything.
Right.
Oh, okay.
No, I still, you know, provided food, provided insurance. I still pay for daycare. And I think that was kind of God moving through me even when I didn't know that at that time. But yeah, I did. So 2016 comes and I get into a huge argument with my mom. And I leave her house with my children, and I contact CORA and tell her, you know, hey, I'm about to go to the shelter, and I was going to this safe haven shelter. Unbeknownst to me, the girl that she be looking cat with, Monet, she had put her out at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Wait, pause. How you know the woman licking cat? How
because
you know?
They told me, and I read the messages. They literally sat me down. We was upstairs smoking weed one day in Brandon's office. And CORA was like, Sissy, I got something. Because see, I think CORA really tried me one day. We was riding in the car and we was talking about men cheating and stuff like that. And she was like, you know, I be telling Brandon he ain't gotta cheat. You know, just you can bring another woman into the room. You know, just bring one with you. And when my eyes lit like.
Wait, this the same woman that be in the pulpit?
Like in the pulpit, yeah. CORA Jax Cole. She lit cat. She like pussy.
No, ma'am. This is okay. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No,
I can hear you real good now. That alarm came on and then went out. Like, girl, I can hear you now. Okay, this is great.
I'm not. No, Yeah, no, ma'am. No,
Yeah,
ma'am.
she said that. And the way she said it, it was like she was trying to see, how I was going to respond.
If you were down with the call.
Yeah, the way she said it,
Oh, dear God.
like she was like, just bring. But it's the way she said, I know my friend, who I thought was my friend.
Yeah.
The way how some people throw something out there to see how
Right.
you
You gonna bite.
Yeah, but bitch, no. I am strictly dickly. That is not my ministry.
You know what?
No, I didn't bite. And especially not you. Okay, but that's not the topic of
Yeah, that's another day. This not the messy. Okay, no. Okay.
So
all right.
yeah. So she had kicked her out, probably like a month or two before that. So Monet was staying at the shelter that I was gonna eventually go to, that I was telling her that I was going to. So she stopped me from going to that shelter and told me that I needed to just come to her house, and we were gonna sit down and talk, and we was gonna figure it out. That's how I ended up living back with CORA in January of 2016. I did not ask to go to her house. I did not ask to move into her home. She told me to come to her home. And she told me to come to her home again to keep me under the manipulation, because if I would have went to that safe haven, I would have gotten resources. Mm-hmm. I would have gotten help. I would have gotten therapy. Mm-hmm. I would have known that, bitch, you still got your rights. Go get your baby. Right. I would have been able to get the necessary help and tools that I needed, that I was continuously asking for while I was
in the first place.
Yeah. Definitely would have got it. Because it wasn't no Salvation Army facility. It was Safe Haven. I don't know if you heard of that. But Safe Haven is a shelter facility for women and children.
Off of Buckner, Bruton is in Dallas.
They got one in Dallas, but not the one on Buckner.
Okay, I'm about to say it's some kind of. Yeah, I'm about to say it's some that little house that be okay.
No, not that. It's a more white collared established shelter. Gotcha. If that makes sense. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Where they bring you stuff from Target and Home Goods and Hobby Lobby. It was one of those shelters. It wasn't we sleeping on a mattress in the open room floor in front of all these people.
Okay, got you.
Yeah. Okay. And so she knew if I would have went there, I would have got the help, the real help that I needed.
Right.
But she brought me to her home, and I stayed with her. But what she did, see, that's why I love God. Mm-hmm. Because what she meant for evil, God turned for good. Because what you did for me while bringing me to your home was help me create even more care, custody, and control. Mm-hmm. Because I stayed with you from January to about July. And mm-hmm. while in your home, I'm doing Jason's hair. I'm feeding Jason. I'm paying lights, water, all that shit. Mm-hmm. I am taking care of Jason. I am paying Jason's daycare. I am taking him to daycare and picking him up from daycare. I am dressing him. You're not doing any of those things. You're mm-hmm. upstairs, sleep until 12 o'clock in the day, and immediately get up and you're on Periscope or Facebook or Instagram. And Brandon is asleep too. So I'm the one taking, if I wanted to, probably could have got Amari. Because when it comes to the court of law, is who's primarily taking care of the child. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So not only did I still have my rights, but now I'm in the home with my child and with my other children, even though I was pregnant. And I was pregnant. So when I had Liam, I was still staying there. Now I have all my children under one roof. and I am the one physically taking care of all of them, including Jason. I'm changing Jason's diapers. I'm putting him to sleep. I'm waking him up from sleep. This is me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it came to a time and point, I guess, where Cora kept getting in Brandon's ear, and he started asking like, when y'all gonna leave? You know, so now Cora is like, you know, you have to go. Basically, she started noticing how, you know, the kids were all gravitating towards me, even Amari. You know, and kids are gonna do that to the person that's taking care of them. Okay. But she can't have children, so she doesn't know that. She started noticing how when Jason, well, even off the bat, even when I first came in there, Jason was always up under me. But she started noticing. No, it would be. He said, because it's actual factual evidence, documentation, proof. So she started noticing how Jason would wake up in the morning and come straight down to me. He didn't beeline and go nowhere else. He came straight down to me because I am the one taking care of him on a day-to-day basis all day long. It's my face that he's seeing all day long because you're upstairs all day long on Periscope and on the internet and lying to people saying that, you know, purchase this CD, only it's a limited amount left when really you only had like 3 or 4 proceeds. That's what she was doing. So when I left,
again.
She be lying to them. And so when I left, but while I was there, I was able to find documents. I was able to see that she had been keeping records of everything that she bought Jason. Like she had a book of, and it wasn't for no damn taxes, okay? It wasn't for no damn IRS taxes. Because she submitted this, she was trying to submit this shit into evidence to use against me in court. She kept a book full of receipts, and it wasn't receipts of everything that she's bought for her household and for other kids and other people. It was just solely everything that she ever bought my son, Jason. Everything that she ever did for me, keeping tally marks. Had a whole notebook, notes page of every time I said that I was gonna come over before I lived there, and that I didn't come over. But she didn't put in there. She wasn't able to come over today because she worked a 12-hour shift. She wasn't able to come over today because today is her 16-hour shift. But she did call. She did FaceTime. She didn't put none of that shit in there. She only put what I didn't do. Not what I did. She didn't put on there how, you know, I would come to the home sometimes before I lived there and y'all wouldn't open the door. So now I gotta leave Pampers and I gotta leave wipes and I gotta leave food and stuff at the door and on the door handle. She didn't put that shit in there. She just put what I wasn't able to do, and it was always because I eventually got a job working at Kohl's warehouse. And it was during peak season. So during peak season, people that are working logistics, you know that sometimes you're going from working 8-hour shifts to 10-hour shifts to 12-hour shifts to sometimes 16-hour shifts. Okay, during peak season. So yeah, she didn't do that. So I ended up leaving in July, I believe June or July. 2 months later, they filed the paperwork in court from when I signed my rights. And that was in 2016. Y'all waited over a year to file this in court, and you only filed it because when I left your home, I kept I want to get Jason. I want to get Jason this weekend. I want to get Jason this weekend. Like every weekend that came, I kept asking to get him. So when she eventually let me get him was the weekend, that Friday, or that Thursday before I got him. She filed that paperwork September 15th, I believe. September 15th, 2016 is when she filed the paperwork. She filed the paperwork from what I signed, or what she forced me to sign. I have to say forced because it was definitely forced. But she forced me to sign over a year prior. She filed it. She only filed it because I believe in her heart that she was scared that I was gonna, when I finally got Jason, that I was not gonna give him back. Because honestly, that's what I was thinking in my head, if I can be brutally honest. When I got him that weekend, I was like, Michelle, you shouldn't even just give him back. But then I was like, but girl, you signed your rights over. So if you do try to keep him, she can probably say that you kidnapping your child.
Yeah.
So what do you like? My mind that whole weekend, and then she sent him with a tablet. I turned that bitch off, because what you ain't finna do is track me and my son and what we doing and what we got going, when I don't even know where he's at when he's with you. So I turned it off.
Right.
But she did, and she showed up to my house. Her husband Shane, and Amari was in the car, because she said that I was late dropping him back off that Sunday, that I was supposed to bring him to the church at like 9 o'clock in the morning. We never had an agreed upon time that I was supposed to bring him back that Sunday. So she got online telling people that I had stole Jason, I had kidnapped him, and to be looking for me. And it was like this whole thing she did. She made a Facebook post, an Instagram post, and a Twitter post, saying that I had took him. So when they came to the house, and I had just so happened had got online, and she was putting up my scene, I ran out the house talking shit, like, why would you post this? What's wrong with you? She was like, you didn't bring Jason when you were supposed to bring him. I said, bitch, we just woke up. What do you mean I didn't bring him?
Right.
At this point, I'm not going to church. At this point, you call me heathen or whatever you want to call me. So now I'm getting real good. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's 11 o'clock. We just woke up. We had a long day. You know what I'm saying? Like, we went out, whatever. She was like, no, my mom, Lucretia, was not letting Jason out their house. Do you hear me? Lucretia, Janice's pal, was not letting. When I walked out that house, she shut her door and locked it. Okay? She wasn't letting them out. I wish my mom would have talked to me what her thoughts was, so I could talk to her what my thoughts was, because I think the whole weekend we was thinking the same thing, but we never said it,
Right.
So like I told you, my mama is not gonna talk much, but
she's gonna do it.
She gonna do it. And that lady locked her door when I went outside. So I go outside. We have an exchange of words. Cora act like she finna hit. Cora act like she was finna hit me. Once I realized she was act like she was finna hit me, Brandon looked at me and knew that I was about to lay her ass out. He scooped her fat ass up so damn fast and put her in the car, So now at this time, me and Cora were going back and forth. Brandon is always a diffuser of a problem. He tries to diffuse things and de-escalate situations. And Shane, I don't know what the hell Shane was doing out there. Shane, a booty eater. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know what he was doing. Anywho, so Brandon is trying to diffuse the situation. So he was like, Michelle, will you please just go and get Jason? And I was like, I ain't going in to get Jason. She need to stop all this shit she doing or whatever. Cause at this time, my mind now, I'm up. I'm up.
Whoa.
I ain't no more black hole. Ain't no more. I'm scared. Ain't no more. I'm scared to a certain extent, but
right.
I'm in my mama's house, and I know my mama got a revolver in the house. So I know if you try
what
to jump Foggy, Lucretia gonna do what Lucretia got to do. You hear me? So I'm not. It's like, you want to jump, we can jump. You want to get Froggy, we can damn sure leave.
Right.
So yeah, and around this time now, Cora has called Bishop Jakes. So this is why I hold Bishop Jakes accountable. Okay, so now we get into why we 2 hours in. We almost done. This is why I hold TD Jakes accountable. TD Jakes was on the phone, and because she was on Bluetooth, this is how I heard him. Your ass knew your daughter was at my motherfucking mama house that day. You knew that she was over there and wasn't supposed to be over there. You told her to get her ass in the car and that she needed to come home. Okay? That's how Cora ended up leaving my mother's house. He knew what his daughter did.
Really?
Yes. He knew what she did and upheld her in her wrong and has tried to cover it up since then. So yes, I'm gonna hold him accountable. Yes, I'm gonna hold Sarita accountable. Cause why the fuck from that? Cause when it was that time, when she had came to my house, she was just the children's director. She wasn't the children's minister. She wasn't no goddamn pastor. She wasn't no goddamn elder. She became all those things from 2016 to 2018. Why the fuck did you elevate your daughter in the church? You elevated your daughter in the church to increase her pay. Because at the time with her being a children's director, her and my income was neck and neck.
Really?
Yes.
Because I was going to ask you, how was she paying?
Her and my income was neck and neck. You increased that woman's income by elevating her in the church and giving her a status quo because she didn't have one. She didn't have a status quo. That's why I hold him accountable, because you knew what your daughter was doing. You knew that we was in court finance. You knew that we was going to trial for this. You knew everything, and you did nothing. Instead, you elevated her into a position where she could outplay me, because she not outplay me, but outnumber me when it came to finances and resources. You gave her a platform. You gave her a bigger voice than what she had. You knew exactly what you was doing. You were giving her power because she didn't have any power before then, just because she had the last name Jakes. Yes. But Cora herself, no.
No, but literally.
None. He gave it to her. He absolutely gave it to her through the course of those 2 years of going to trial. So she ends up going to Bishop's house. They have, I want to say it's so bad where they live, but I'm not. But they have a home in Fort Worth.
Okay.
They have a home in Fort Worth. That's where the mansion is. The mansion is in Fort Worth. She tells him, in my house from Bishop, my mama's house from Bishop, them houses 10, maybe 12 minutes. Yes. So she goes back over there. So then now it's only Brandon and Shane in my house. Next thing I know, when I look up, my Aunt Trina's pulling up. I said, oh Lord, my mama called my Aunt Trina. So she calls my Aunt Trina, and Brandon talks to me. Brandon has now convinced me to get Jason and bring him out. He convinced me to bring him out, and in my mind, I thought, I don't have any rights. I can't keep this child. My mom didn't even know that I had went to the lawyer's office with Cora and signed it. My mom did not know that.
Wow.
She did not know that. So that's why I was adamant with her at that time, like, mama, open the door, give me Jay. My mama was not gonna open that door. I'm gonna say that right now. She was not gonna open that door. Lucretia wasn't gonna open that door. I had to beat on the door and beg my mama to open the door. So I beat on the door, I begged my mama to open the door. She gives me Jason. I give Jason to Brandon. Now I'm crying, because it's just like I'm so overwhelmed, and I just really wish I would have spoken my thoughts with my mama that weekend, because I would have definitely been able to have a plan and have wisdom and have insight on how to move, and definitely would have known that I don't have to give my baby back to them, no matter what they do. I haven't been served for the paperwork I filed in court. It's just a piece of paper, but I can't go back. But anywho, so as I'm talking to Brandon, my untreated tells me to come to the car. And when I go to the car, sit in the car, my mama comes outside. My mama is very smart. Okay, she's a very smart I'm gonna say young lady in her 50s. She's a very smart woman. And so she comes out and she says, Brandy, let me just hold my grandbaby. Let me just hold my grandbaby before you go. So Brandon allows her to hold Jason. This tactic that my mother was using is called the transfer of a child. Okay. Transfer of a child, state of Texas, if he gave her that baby and she walked off with that baby, he cannot say that it's, kidnapping or anything of the sort, because you transferred, she asked for the child and you gave her the child. And so when he did that, my mom then comes and brings Jason to me and my Aunt Trina, and we sit in the car. Now my mom is trying to sit in the car and listen to the conversation, but again, me and my mom don't have the best of relations, and I was ashamed because of what I had did, what I was forced to do, and I knew that my mom didn't know, and so I'm talking to my Aunt Trina. I finally tell my Aunt Trina, I said, "But Aunt Trina, I can't just keep them because I signed my rights over." My Aunt Trina telling me, "Michelle, it don't matter if you did that. You haven't been served. You haven't been served. You haven't been served." But I'm just like, but ain't Trina, you just don't know. You just don't know. Mind you, she secluded me from my family. She secluded me from anybody that had a sound mind and could talk to me. She, of course, secluded me. So, I was like, I have to do this the right way. I'm going to have to go to court and I'm going to have to fight for my son.
Right.
And that's when I gave Jason back to Brandon. And I gave him back to Brandon, and I did that again because I thought that I didn't have no rights.
Right.
Not knowing that I did have rights, they didn't have rights to my son.
Wow. But that all stems back to the fact of the matter that you didn't have proper legal representation.
Yeah, I didn't have proper legal
representation.
I didn't have any of that. So then I get in contact with this lawyer, and he's like, well, the first thing you need to do is go down to their courthouse and see if they have anything, pending or anything coming up in court, if they filed any paperwork. And that's how I found out that they filed the paperwork that they filed. So I immediately wrote, it was like maybe a 3-4 page letter to the judge, telling the judge, because the lawyer told me what I needed to do. You need to rebuttal, and you need to rebuttal immediately, and you need to set a hearing date or court date for it. So I wrote a 3-page letter to the judge, and they set the court date for October 25th. This happened in September. CORA got served and texted me on October 20th and was like, oh, this is what we're doing. So we're going to go to court and handle this in court. And then that's when I was like, oh, this bitch crazy. Game on. And then we battled it out in court. The first trial was thrown. It was a lot of misstep. It was a lot of paying off. It was a lot of not abiding by the law. And my lawyer absolutely threw my case. CORA did not have to present her medical records, her medical history, her income. They did not do a case study evaluation. In fact, their lawyer asked for them to not have to do a case study evaluation because CORA had got a CPS case. So they wanted to use that. That's why I'm trying to get the transcripts. They wanted to be able to use that CPS case study evaluation as the case study to skip over that part. CORA did not submit any part of medical records. She did not submit any type of income verification or nothing like that. So once my lawyer stopped representing me, they immediately filed for a new trial once I told them that I was not going to do a trial by judge, is what they thought. I wasn't that damn stupid. I'm gonna do a trial by jury. So I did the trial by jury. We go to trial for the second time. Cora and the doctor is the only people that get on the stand. The doctor, of course, Cora's attorney was trying to say that my child was a drug addict baby. The doctor quickly let him know, no, he wasn't. He didn't go through any withdrawals. He didn't have any other type of drugs or what is classified as a drug in the United States of America, any other type of drugs in his system. She said babies don't have withdrawals from marijuana. That's not something that we in the science field have seen or even heard of. And then she said Jason was perfectly fine, and she when I asked her, did she hear Cora when we was at the hospital say that she would be there for me in whatever way I needed? She said absolutely, because Cora said it in front of the doctor. So they thought that she was going to get on stand and lie for them, but she got on stand and told the truth for me, because when she came into the courtroom, and it's just when I look back on certain things, God really did cover me. Because when she came into the courthouse and she saw me, she immediately came to me as if she knew me, as if she knew that from the time she met me, that this is probably what it was gonna come. It was like she the way she came up to me and hugged me and consoled me. She saw me before I saw her. This is the doctor now. And she said everything is gonna be okay. Everything is gonna be okay. And I looked at her and I was just like, because they subpoenaed her for their witness. So I was not confused, but I was like in an awe moment that even though they subpoenaed her to be their witness, she stood on that stand for me and told the truth and didn't bend and fold to what they probably wanted her to say that wasn't the truth. So she told them that he was not malnourished, that he was not, he was not an addict baby. He wasn't going through any withdrawals, that he didn't have any other drugs in his system, and that he didn't have drugs in his system at all. He just had it in his poop.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Cora takes the stand after that, and she gets on stand and she's lying. You know how people do fake tears, but don't have fake tears. You just making your voice,
break and crack,
like you're crying and cracking. That's what I'm doing on stand. And so we ended the day because it had got so long. I'm getting towards the end of the story.
No pressure.
We ended the day because it had got so long, and so we came back the next day. Coming back the next day, she was like, before trial even started, she was like, well, Miss Powell, you want to come to the front because I believe that, obviously the judge and her lawyer was talking before people got to the court, because it seemed like we all got to the courthouse at the same time. So how do you know that she has some evidence that she wants to present as soon as I walk into the courtroom? How is she talking to you about evidence when I'm not even there yet?
Right.
So she was like, what she tried to do is, like I said, she tried to present the video of me smoking the cigar. And that really, for some reason, that really scared me, because I really felt like, that could be really used against me in a harsh way, not knowing that it couldn't,
Right.
And so I'm like, oh, damn, I was fighting real good. Now what the fuck I'm going to do? They got
that threw you off.
It threw me completely off. That's exactly what they was gunning for. And at the time, I didn't understand that when you're presenting evidence, first of all, it wouldn't have been admissible as evidence as marijuana smoking, because you don't see me break nothing down, fill it up with marijuana, roll it up, and
Mm-hmm.
smoke it. It's literally just, you can buy a cigar at the store
Right.
legally.
Right.
And so, but that wasn't registered in my mind. So that's how they got me and forced me into an agreement. But the agreement that I agreed to was not the agreement that went before the judge and the judge signed. And when I tried to revoke it, they told me that I couldn't. But in actuality, I could, because it's a Rule 11 agreement, meaning when you come to an agreement and you read it before the court and it's not an actual, paper, is called a Rule 11 agreement. You can revoke a Rule 11 agreement at any time before that
Mm.
final order is signed. And I told them that, hey, this is not what I agreed to. I didn't agree for my rights to be terminated. Why would I fight all this time and then just agree to my rights to be terminated? This is not what I agreed to.
Right.
I didn't agree to not know about his school, to be excluded from the one providing his medical, because I know medical is key when it comes to having a say so when it comes to a child. Medical is key. Insurance is
Mm-hmm.
key. So if you want to keep standing as a custodial parent, make sure you keep your child insured under your name in the state of Texas. So I'm telling them, like, this is not what I agreed to. I'm giving them what I did agree to, and they just completely railroaded me.
Mm.
And from there, I tried to get lawyers to help me, but nobody wanted to do it. And when I mentioned, when I had to mention that it was Cora Jakes, Bishop T.D. Jakes' daughter, they threw their hands up. They didn't even call me back. They didn't even take a consultation. So, that discouraged me for a while. For a long time, it discouraged me. And so I just did what I knew best to do. And then I started researching the law. Then I started studying the law for myself. Then I started reaching out to Cora, Brandon, First Lady, Sarah, uh, Dexter, Jermaine, and even the people that she had listed as her witnesses, the people that wrote letters in on her behalf, that lied before the judge on her behalf. I started writing everybody and keeping documentation of me reaching out. I started posting on social media without putting a name on it at first.
Mm.
When it came to my visitation, she denied every other visitation. And because every other visitation was a prominent thing, like Mother's Day, his birthday. I was supposed to have him his birthday weekend. My visitation fell on that weekend. I was supposed to have him then. I was supposed to have him for Cree's birthday weekend, but because Cree's birthday is close. Cree is born on the 17th. I think that's the same day that Sarah's born, and Cora's born on the 19th of July. So
Mm-hmm.
she tried to use that as excuse as to why Jason couldn't come to my visitation. And then she would gather up all her people that, because we had to have a mediator, because Cora couldn't drop Jason out to me. I would probably dotted her in her eye. So So you had to have like a point of like a person of contact, a supervised contact, and she would make it to where none of her supervised contacts were available, and that she didn't feel comfortable with my supervised contacts. I have those emails too. I have those documentations too. So then she upset emails me when I'm like, hey, I'm supposed to have my visitation. This is blah blah blah. Then she ups and emails me and tells me, oh, Jason has been adopted. Jason has been adopted, and these are the standards, these are the boundaries. You're not his mom, and we've cut off all communication from him to you because you keep referencing yourself as his mom, and that's just confusing for him. And we're trying to heal after this long court battle, like just a whole bunch of bullshit. And so I did not see him. I haven't seen him since August 12th of 2018.
Wow. Okay, y'all. So
Sorry
that
for so long, but y'all
no,
want
no,
to
no,
know
no,
my
no.
story.
Do not apologize, because I told you this is your night. What we about to do now, you guys, because now you guys have the beginning, y'all have the middle, y'all have the foundation. We're going to take a last breaking point on what has transpired, because you're going to hear from Michelle that she actually got an opportunity to talk to Jason. So we're going to talk about that along with what we're about to do in the future. Y'all stay tight.
What up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. If you're new, don't be. And I mean that. Don't be. Go ahead and click that subscribe button to be a part of the Witness gang, to join the Witness Nation. Now, I am here to let you guys know we are now accepting members. Let me stop stunning. We've been accepting members, but I'm here to tell you more information about the memberships, okay? It's just better here. Why not become a member and support your girl on a month-to-month basis, okay? Now, we have 4 different tiers that you can choose from. They'll probably be somewhere over here, okay? Not for nothing, we have Out of the Bushes for $1.99 a month, okay? And then you can become a Witness member. $3.99 a month. You can't beat that, okay? Now, if you want to take it up a notch and become a Witness gang member, just $9.99 a month, okay? Now, I see you. You want to go even further. That's great, okay? Become a Witness Nation member at $19.99. Okay, now all these proceeds go back into the channel, okay? I pride myself on doing due diligence to give you guys best quality product and content, okay? So if you love what you see here on WhitneyDTV and you want to keep it going, make sure you become a member, like right now. Like today, like go do it now, okay? Comes with a lot of different perks, like members only chats and member only videos and getting updates and exclusive information before anybody does, okay? So what are you waiting for? Go become a member like now. Like right now. Duh. Bye.
All right, you guys, welcome back. And again, if you would like to join the membership here on WhitneyDTV for exclusive information and things of that nature, please check out the description box down below, okay? Now, as we come to the conclusion of this wonderful interview with Michelle, we left off hearing just how she got where she at, a lot of manipulation, a lot of tactics. And so here we are, okay? So now we just got through hearing about this court proceeding that I say a setup, but this court proceeding and these violations through and through this whole process. And now we're here to where now you're here in the present day, if you will. And so now you're coming out and you're talking about your story, I would assume, right? Now what was the last straw for you that made you be like, all right, enough is enough, I'm naming names. What was that? Because you were very emotional on that video.
Yes, I was. Before I answer, can I address something that I read?
Yes, ma'am. Do you want me to pull something up?
I can't really go all the way back to the comment, but I want to make clear that CORA did not. When I said CORA came to my mother's house, this was in 2016. Okay, CORA has never spent the night at my house when we were younger. She did not come to my house when we were younger. My mama didn't do that. We could not have people spending the night over our house. Our cousins barely spend the night over our house. My mom was not that type of mom. So do not get misconstrued and twist what I am saying. Stop hearing what you want to hear and listen to what I am saying. CORA came to my mother's house. This is in 2016. I'm a full-grown ass woman at this time. I have all my children with me. She came over to my mother's house to start mess, to start drama when she knew she was wrong. So I just want to clear it up. This present day time, when I talked to him this past Thanksgiving, I was able to speak with him because I created another page. That wasn't one of my main pages on Instagram. And CORA was posting pictures and stuff of her and Jason, and it egged the fuck out of me. And I'm just going to be honest. Mm-hmm. Because it is so hard seeing your son flaunt around on social media as if you don't know that I've been reaching out to talk to him, to see him. It's even more disheartening when you see people you once called friends that gets to grow up and see your child on a daily basis and know absolutely what this woman has done to you, and y'all still stick beside her. That is extremely even harder for me on most days. So on this particular day, Thanksgiving, I had enough. I had enough. And I reached out and I just let it all out. And she started to respond. I can't get into the details of that conversation, because I'm definitely going to be using those messages at the right time. Right. The right time is right now to share it. Mm-hmm. So from that conversation, I got to talk to my child.
Yeah. How was that?
I
know you can't go into details as to what y'all spoke about.
It was bittersweet because I knew that was probably going to be my first and only time talking to him, because I know the type of games CORA play.
So you think that was used to basically like, okay, here, girl, shut up now, be quiet.
But that didn't shut. That's not going to shut me up. It angered me more. Right. Because you thought you could play on my intelligence like that. I am not Michelle from 2014. This is 2023. I am standing in my truth, and I am standing on the truth. And if you thought one phone call with him was going to get me to close my mouth, you absolutely thought wrong. It's only going to make me scream louder. It's now I'm coming on live every day. And now I'm emailing him every day. Now I'm trying to talk to anybody and everybody I can. That's not gonna make me shut. And I didn't physically see him on FaceTime. I want to see him even more now in person. I want to have him even more now. I get angry even more of what you did to me. Right. And how it's been years that I haven't seen him physically, and his siblings haven't seen it. It ignited a flame in me so much more. Bitch, I'm not being quiet.
Can I ask you this? So would you say, I don't know if you can answer this now, do you think Jason like, no, you mama?
He absolutely knows I'm mama, because I told him that. When he tried to call me Miss Michelle he was basically Jason was basically being coached,
manipulated
in the audio messages that was being sent before I actually FaceTime him. He was being coached, and I had to correct it right then and there. And corrected it. He started calling CORA his adoptive mother. Like I told her, I'm not gonna lie to my child, and I ain't gonna sugarcoat the truth. Jason, I am your mother. I am not Miss Michelle.
He came from your mother. Yeah.
And it ain't no confusion. You 8 years old. Then you can't be confused about that. I am your mother. And if she tells you I'm not, like she has, she a bald-faced ass lie. No, okay. I'm not lying to you. I told him, I said, Jason, I love you. I have always fought for you. I'm going to keep fighting for you until you're home. I am your mother. I am not Miss Michelle. I did not willingly, I did not willingly sign no documentation twice. Not willingly. I never willingly gave you up, and I look forward to the day where I'm able to hold you, where I'm able to talk to you and smell your neck and look inside your nose, see if you got some boogers in there. I'm looking forward to the day where we're all together and we're cooking and we're cleaning and y'all getting on my nerves, running around the house, arguing and fighting or playing, and y'all won't stop playing like I do with my kids now.
So I got another question. Do you think that if maybe she would have allowed you to be involved in his life, do you think that you would have still pursued to get him back, or that was never like the case? You always wanted him.
I've always wanted him. I think that I probably would have been okay. I would have been more okay if fuck that, no. Sorry.
You ain't got to do that over here. This ain't that type of thing, baby. You be as real and authentic as you can, because I am. Because I was just, because I'd be curious. Like most people be like, well, maybe it was just because she kept him away from you. But I'm thinking, no, it was. I want my child. It would.
That's it. That's ain't no reasoning.
Right.
Ain't no reasoning. He never belonged to you.
Right.
You took my baby. I'm not finna reason with you and be like, well, let's figure out a visitation. Let's do like no, because when that opportunity could have happened, you decided that you wanted to continue to fight me in court and continue to try to manipulate me and manipulated me through the court system, not only through yourself but through the court system, and took my child. So I don't have any other type of arrangement. I want my child. Period.
So why do you think the family, and to my recollection, have not spoken out about it?
Because they think they Jay-Z and Beyonce and they don't have to address shit. That's what I think. They want to continue to, they want to protect their image and protect their public figure and things of that nature. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit either. Y'all wrong, and I'm gonna speak my truth, and I'm gonna stand on the truth. And since y'all didn't want to hold your daughter accountable when y'all should have held her accountable when the shit was private, God made it known public. So guess what? All y'all motherfuckers is accountable. Every last one of y'all.
Period.
So
in the lead up of everything, where are you mentally, emotionally, spiritually? Where is Michelle at now? I know you got all your other kids.
Through this journey of coming out and put a name on it, like every time I tell it, I'm able to get further along in the story without crying. Like some parts I do break down, but I can just see strength growing in me. I'm not as broken down as I was. I'm not as weary. Now I'm in a fight now. Like I don't have time to be broken down. I have to have all the strength to be able to fight. I get more strength every time I'm able to tell this story. Every time I'm able to share this story, I'm able to get through the emotions. I'm able to fight. I'm able to have the strength that I need. So that's how I'm doing mentally. Mentally, I'm okay. I do have I don't want to say a life therapist, but I have done therapy. I have spoken to a licensed therapist that has helped me through my feelings and my emotions over the years. I'm healthy. I'm whole. I'm not as broken as I was. Parts of me are still broken because he's not here, but I'm not nowhere near as broken as I was. I'm not homeless. I live in a 4-bedroom house and not a small 4-bedroom.
I saw.
Yeah, not a it's not as big, but it's not small either. I have a front yard, backyard, high voltage ceilings, full open kitchen. All my kids sleep very comfortably, and we've been there 3 years. This is not something that I just moved into. I've been there three years. I have a business, well-established business. We shaking and moving things, baby.
Absolutely.
We shaking and moving things.
Absolutely.
It's not giving broke. It's not giving homeless. I might not have as much money as them, but my kids, their refrigerator full.
Right.
Their rent is paid. Them lights is paid. Yeah, their water is paid. A complete, fully furnished house. They got every gadget that is, every station, Xbox, hoverboard, phone, J's, Air Force Ones. Shit, they get on my
they kids. I understand mine get on mine too. Okay.
Girl,
I understand.
It ain't no lacking. It ain't no lacking. It ain't no privacy over here because somebody said something like that. Well, you think he really want to be taken from it? Listen, let me tell you something. It might not be no mansion, but he ain't gonna lack for nothing. I guarantee you that.
Right.
Ain't no roaches, ain't no ants, ain't no bugs, ain't no none of that. We ain't in no hood. We over here with in the suburbs with the Asians. If you stay with Asians, you done made it. People think when you stay with white folk, you really made it. No, when you stay with Asians,
they got that different paper. Yeah,
honey, you didn't kind of leveled up a little bit in life. So this ain't got nothing to do with money. I don't. This has everything to do with what was done to me was wrong.
period.
And I have positioned myself. I have fought through my struggles of life to position myself to be properly able to take care of my children. And I deserve and I want my child. I did not just start fighting in 2023. I've been fighting since 2016. I've been talking since 2016. I've actually the day they forced me to sign my rights over, I made a status on Facebook and say, what do you do when you feel like you've done the wrong thing? People don't even know that I was talking about that. And Cora commented under that status. I think I'm gonna post it. I gotta go find it. But she commented up under that, and she said, "When you've done a God thing, it's never the wrong thing." She said something along those lines. She's always she's used God through this whole ordeal. And I'm just, yeah.
And so see, that's horrible because it makes you have a morbid mind frame of God. Yeah. And God, this is not of God. God is not the author of confusion.
You can't pay me to go to church now. You see what I'm saying?
I hate that, Michelle, because that was the whole point.
You cannot pay me to go to church. And what's crazy is I can preach. Right. I have the gift of prophecy in interpreting dreams and things like that, but you can't pay me to go to church. I just decide to have a individual relationship with God. I read my Bible, I pray, I talk to God before is going and fellowshipping with brethren. I don't trust the church, and I don't think I would trust that for a long time. I would have to get to the place like you can't pay me. No.
Well, I hate that because all churches aren't the same.
All churches aren't the same.
But I get it.
I can't do it right now, sis. I'm still ain't healed in that area.
I know, but they hurt too bad. This is a big hurt. This is a big hurt, and by some very prominent individuals in the community. So I get it, but I do want you to heal from that because, especially with the calling on your life, you know what I'm saying? And we need people like you in the church. We need goodness because everybody to go to the airport ain't catching a flight. Everybody in the hospital ain't hurt. So, and when you're genuinely good people, you need to be in position for God to use you, sister. And I know you got a call and a gift on your life. But before we wrap everything up, I want this to be very clear to everybody. The reason why I took on this interview and the reason why I wanted to speak to her, because let me be very clear, okay? And Michelle said something on her live today, and that's when I immediately started inboxing her. I don't know where people get off thinking that man is bigger than God. And that's why maybe it's the God you serve, but my God is great. My God, my God is what that is. And so my thing is that people were saying the same thing about R. Kelly, Harvey Weinstein, all these powerhouse people, and we're slowly but surely seeing the industry, seeing individuals exposed. And let's be very clear. The church has been exposed in many ways, okay? But let's also very clear, like I said, every church is not like that. Every person is not like that. But these people are. And we are not fixing to sit here and turn a blind eye and allow, like R. Kelly has said on several occasions, you should have waited 30 years ago. That's sad. Okay, that's 30 years. And you see how God came back and gave him 30 years? That ain't no coincidence. You are merely, you're not getting away with anything. You're merely getting by. And see, the thing is that if this was something that was of God, okay, it will be solidified. It would be at peace. It's no peace in her spirit. And so I couldn't have been on this platform. I may not be great. It may not be just like, and I was telling her, you know, I'm not at 100,000 like Satasha K, millions or whatever, but I know that I'm here with purpose. I know that if I'm not able, I know somebody else is. I know that I don't mind getting my foot wet, and I know I'm powerful. I know I'm great because the word of God tells me with God, He's more than the world against me, baby. So I don't care. I'll stand alone. I do it quite often on my platform. So I stand with you, sister. I believe you. Everything you say, okay? And hashtag get Jason home. Okay.
Bring Jason home.
Okay,
Yes.
bring Jason home. Period, Pooh. And you're hearing me, okay? With all these people on here, I am going to do my due diligence by connecting you to whoever I can. Lifetime, where you at? The New York Times, where y'all don't be scared. And no,
I do have a book out.
Yes, I was just about to
Stand.
that.
Yes, it's called Dare to Stand. You can get it on Amazon.com, or you can go to my website, michelleloud.org. I also have a GoFundMe, because I do need help in the fight. And you can cash out Love in the First. If you don't want to do GoFundMe, you can also do Zelle if you have it at bringjasonhome05@gmail.com. And just go get the book, y'all. It's not just a good read, but it is an honest truth. And for those who don't have time to sit and listen to lives or listen to interviews, I think that the book would do just for you to read it. I share a little bit more insight in the book than I have on the live. So it's called Dare to Stand: The Authenticity of a Mother's Journey. And I really appreciate the support. And to anybody that has dealt with what I'm dealing with, gone through what I'm dealing with, I love you. I'm here for you. And we got this, and we can stand together. I'm not interested in tearing any other mother down that's fighting, or any other father down that's fighting, because I do understand that fathers, it's fathers out here that's also fighting for their rights to their kids as well. And I think oftentimes we forget about them. So I'm standing with you all as you all are standing with me. And I just cannot thank y'all enough for the love and the support. And it's the belief for me, because that has been a big thing. You can't get support without somebody believing in you first. And I just want to say thank you for believing in me. And my goal is to get my son home, and that's what I'm going to manifest. So
absolutely. And we're going to stand in agreement with you. And again, and lastly, but not least, I am here. I stand with you. This is not going to be the last time. I already told her she's going to come back, because we're going to get some stuff working, because I'm like your mama. I don't speak much. I move in silence. And nobody never knows who little old Whitney with the little 6,000 subscribers know, or who I'm connected to, or who watching. And I always say it's power in quality than it is quantity.
yes,
I am going to be in connections with you. We're going to be bringing Michelle back. Y'all mark my words. We're going to be bringing Michelle back, and you're going to hear some progression. Okay. And it's not by might, by force. Okay. If you want to take, we can take too. But see, we're going to do it. We're going to do it the right way. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So
yes.
I appreciate you, Michelle, so very much for your tenacity and your strength, because I'm proud of you. That was strength. You choked up a little bit.
A little
bit, but that's all right.
I hate crying. So.
You too G, huh? You don't cry. You too G.
I don't like crying. I'm a gangster.
Yeah, you're a gangster. but you gotta know that when you cry, You when you shed that water, it's labor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just like when that water break. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you stay encouraged, and like I said, we're going to be in touch, and it's uphill from here.
Thank you.
Uphill from here, you know what I'm saying? And thank you again for
Thank
coming to
you.
my platform and allow me to be able to share your story with my viewers and subscribers. If I can, I'm gonna be getting your book. Yes, I'm gonna order my own copy, and I would love to read a few pages or chapters if I can. I know how that stuff works, so I don't want to read too much. I want people to go buy it themselves, but
Yeah.
I would love to be able to read it, chapter or two. Okay, because I do reading over here. So
Yes, ma'am. Okay,
okay.
period.
All right. So not for nothing. Thank you again, Michelle. Everybody tell Michelle bye. Put some hashtag bring Jason home in
Be
the
clear,
chat.
bring Jason home. Yes.
Yes, right here. Put it in the chat. Flood it. And you guys, please donate to her. I say Cashapp because no shade. GoFundMe takes a percentage off of it. Give it directly to her. Let's support her. Okay. If you can give a dollar, like seriously, dollars go a long way. Help her. Okay. Help her out.
Yeah, it don't matter if it's $1, if it's dollars go a long way. What the old folks say, them pennies add up, baby. Them pennies add up. Them pennies add up. You know, because I am just a mother fight for her child at the end of the day.
That's it. And we don't normally hear these stories. It's like you hear about the woman just went on somewhere or she don't care. She's fighting. You know, she's saying she made a mistake. Like this is not how she planned it. And you hearing all this craziness. Come on now. Y'all do the right thing. Show your love, show your support. Even if you can't donate, make some phone calls. And
if you can't donate, you can share, you can like, you can tag, you can, tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody. That's still a donation.
Absolutely.
Listen, I need all the help I can get. I'm going to get against a mighty, 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 mighty powerful machine. And people will be like, why you didn't go to court? Chick, heifer. What? You asking questions that just child, because I did go to court and look what happened when it was just little on me. Yeah. It can't be just little on me this time. It can't just be, I can't be by myself this time. And just because they're the Jakes doesn't mean I'm going to stop fighting.
And now you're not alone.
Yes,
so we have K-Mac say, do you have an email and what state are you in?
Yes, the email is bringjasonhome05@gmail.com. And the state that I am in Texas, baby. I am a Texas girl.
Hey, don't get me started. Take house.
214 to be exact.
Hey, Greedy Grove. I grew up in Pleasant Grove. So I'm always over there.
America to be exact.
Oh, baby boo. Pleasant Grove, baby. Pleasant Grove.
Yeah.
Pleasant Grove.
Dallas, Texas. You know what I'm saying? Triple D.
Look at me. I'm over here trying to be all prop and prim.
Oh, okay.
Pleasant Grove. Okay, don't get me started. Okay, yes. Okay, Pleasant Grove. Pleasant Grove. I was in Oak Cliff for a little bit for a time, but
little bit.
Well,
yeah, baby.
I got you. We gonna link up.
It's all love, though. It's Dallas County.
It is. So I appreciate you again, my love. I'm gonna let you go. Thank you again. I'm gonna be in touch. I got you. Okay.
Thank you so much. Yes, I got you. I got you locked in. We got each other locked in.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, and I'll talk to you later.
Thank you. Bye, y'all. Thank you.
Bye. Woo! All right, you guys. Yes, let's give it up. Okay, let's give it up for Michelle for being so courageous, being so bold enough to come on here and tell her story to a new audience. Like I said, everybody didn't hear it, especially over here, because I got some people that don't too much cut for other YouTubers. I'm not going to call no names, but you've heard her story. And I am appreciative to be able to be one of those facilitators of her story. So I'm going to ask you this before I wrap it up. If it were you, what would you do? How would you respond? Because I know a lot of people will be like, well, why is she going online? Why is she doing this? Because she needs help. And she is not hiding. That'll be different if she was hiding or whatever. No, she's going to everybody that will listen. Okay, as I would. It's kind of like a desperate thing, but it's not a bad desperate. It's a good desperate. Like, listen to me. I got evidence. I got this and the third. I'm telling you, you reap what you sow. And how you get into a situation is normally how you're going to get out. Let that marinate, okay? Not for nothing, you guys. Thank y'all so very much for tuning in. Those that are new here, welcome to WhitneyDTV. I pray you guys enjoyed yourself. I know it was long, but it wasn't long enough for me. I could have kept talking to Michelle. She's such a beautiful spirit, and I really hate that this happened. And like I said, I'm a woman of God. I go to church. I love my church home, and all those that have experienced church hurt, please, you guys, like, seriously heal from it and, be in position, because we need people like you. And actually, y'all need to check out my Uncommon series that we bring every Thursday. We actually last week addressed church hurt. Check this out. When have we not been able to take accountability?
Starting to realize that they be generalizing, but they don't be talking about everybody for real, which is the ghetto type that keep being advertised as the top tier,
There is a majority of women that don't know how to take accountability.
Oh, it got hot on that page.
You should want your kid to be successful. That should be enough for of them. It goes back to when your kid gets a job in high school, you should not want them to pay a bill. That's enough for them to pay their cell phone, to teach them, money management, to teach them credit.
It was something that happened while I was there that put me back in the mind space of what I dealt with at the previous church that had me like, oh my God. Like, that was the aha moment for me that, Kendra, you're dealing with church hurt.
All that and more on Uncommon Opinions here at WhitneyDTV. Again, thank you guys so very much for tuning in to this beautiful interview that I had with Michelle Loud. My prayers go out to her and her family. I am so embarrassed to be a representation of the body of Christ, to see somebody from the body of Christ do a person like this, and then to hear her wholeheartedly say, you can't pay her to go back to the church. Y'all know biblically we're supposed to fellowship with one another. That's just biblical. But I do understand church hurt, and I know how that can actually push you away from the church. So my prayers go out to Michelle that she heals from that, because she's a beautiful light, and everybody in the church, outside the church, deserves to see her glow. And I pray that Jason sees this and sees how much his mother loves him, and he acts a fool, baby, act a fool, fight, blink twice, okay? Do what you got to do, okay? Not for nothing, y'all. Thank y'all so very much for tuning in, and I will see you guys on the next video. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in, and I will see you guys later.
A story that will grip your very...